your milkshake. I drink it up.
Donnie,
Yeah.
Gus German here wants to adopt the country. Oblige him.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Hell, I can get you towed by 3 o'clock this afternoon with nail polish.
We have you 4-1.
I like those odds.
It's the Smoking Hot Nerds podcast.
Yeah, minute 58.
1 and fight me 3-person. Yeah. Uh-oh.
What
My
happened?
screen's all wacky. The overlay looks ridiculous. What's going on? Uh-oh. Wonder why that's
change
looking like that.
resolution?
No, I don't know.
Oh,
Here.
that's
Isn't that interesting?
that's-
Here, we're going to have to do
fascinating.
that
What'd
for a
you-
second. I don't know. I'm
What?
sure that there's something in the... That looks ridiculous.
Watching
Let's
it
see
live.
here. I wonder what the grid mode... I'm not sure what the problem is. Well, that's a bummer.
You gotta
'cause-
kick off Facebook too.
What's that?
Facebook didn't kick off.
No. That's not on yet? Oh, really? Hang on.
I got nothing.
It's live. Well, it says it's live according to me.
I like
Hello, everybody out there in the
Hey!
in the universe. I don't know what's going on with our overlay here, but it's goofy. Let's try it again. What the heck?
Did you change resolution or
No.
something?
Whoops. Hang on. Looks
Did you
fine right there,
export-
right?
I'm
Did you
gonna
export
get
it?
my monkey beer. Maybe that'll solve
Get
it.
your monkey beer. That'll help it. Because it got the fight me 4-person. So why does it blow it up? Oh, that's so interesting. Okay, hang on. Let me try something here. The old sound check.
Oh boy.
Oh, hang on. Nope.
I'm
There
gonna
we
pop
go.
my collar for this. Pop,
There
pop.
we go.
Just kidding.
Here, let's try
Stupid.
this. Oh, I bet
Pop
I
your
know what's
collars,
going on
kids.
here. There we go. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so the story starts with this. First of all, hello, everybody. Welcome to the Smoking Hot Nerds podcast. Tonight is our first episode ever of Fight Me. This is going to be very exciting. But yeah, so what you hear outside is, we'll call them day laborers. We'll call them people working on the streets. That sounded completely wrong.
Yeah. Like what?
Let's call them people that walk around,
Right.
do work. Streetwalkers. Let's call them
All right, I had to
streetwalkers.
poop at Safeway today, and the reason I had to poop
Let's
at
just put
Safeway.
it this way.
Let's just put it this way. And the reason I had to poop at Safeway is because they're doing a bunch of work on the street outside the studio, and they're doing a new water main. And so they said 2 days ago, came by, a couple of guys came in, dunk, 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 yeah, come on in. Sir, we're gonna have the water shut off on Thursday. Okay, just Thursday? Yeah, just Thursday. It's gonna just shutting it off on Thursday. Okay. That's all that was said, was the water was getting shut off. This morning I show up and there's a man outside of my window. I couldn't get into my front door of the studio because there's a guy out there cutting open the sidewalk with like a sidewalk saw. And
concrete saw?
the
Nice.
street is torn up with like 7 feet, gashes out of it. And they're like laying new water pipe, which I kind of assumed that's what was going to happen. But no one said, oh, and also, by the way, if anyone needs to get in, you're not going to be able to. That wasn't.
By the
And I
by,
hope
major
you
construction. Sorry,
Want
everybody.
to walk out of your building?
Yeah.
If you're already in it.
I can deal with having to poop at Safeway. I can deal with peeing on top of my own pee for 2 days. That's fine. But it was just a little annoying. Oh, because I can't flush the toilet, so I just kept on going in the same
Gotcha.
on top of it. Yeah, which that's fine. Right? That's totally normal.
If it's yellow, let it mellow.
That's what I'm
And
saying.
then just make it more yellow.
Yeah. And
If
then
it's yellow, make it more yellow.
what is yellow? Knock it down.
That's the old septic tank
That's
rule.
what they'll say. So,
'Cause who wants
anyways,
to get your septic drained all the time?
Yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. you did that out in the farm, out
Mm-hmm.
in farmland.
We were efficient. We just dumped it and let the corral grow off of our plentiful waste.
So you take
And
the
then
septic
the
tank?
cattle came and ate that stuff, and then cattle got butchered, and we ate that meat, and then we pooped it out, and it went in the septic. See, it's the circle of life.
I was gonna say, you know what that is? It's the
very
circle
Hakuna
of
Matata,
life.
There was
Yeah.
South Park did the Circle of Poo
Yeah.
parody.
Right. It's pretty
Covered
much
that,
right.
Actually.
Yeah, I had brought water from home just to use in the toilet in case, but I'm not taking any chances. So it was. So by the way, it's kind of funny though. Going over to Safeway to poop, I go to the bathroom and the door is locked to the public restroom, and this lady, and it's in the stockroom area. It's not like a public area. It's just like, you have to go through, and
This
there's like.
sounds just like what I deal with in the morning. Go on.
Yeah, there's a bunch of staff back
Every
there, and this
morning.
girl goes, "You can go upstairs. There's bathrooms upstairs." And I was like, "Okay, I'll go upstairs." I go upstairs. No, that's the staff like break room, and so there's just a bunch of like staff sitting up there, and I like get up to the top, and I kind of stand there, and thankfully mask on, so nobody knows who I am. And this lady is sitting there with a big old jug of Mountain Dew, and she's like, "It's over there." And I was like, "How'd you know what I was looking for?" She goes, "You look like you needed it." I was like, "Well, it's kind of true." So I went and
Because you're holding your crotch and crossing your legs, honey. We can tell.
and you smell like you shat. So
That's terrible.
I poop fast, and their toilet paper is thin. You'd think a grocery store would have better toilet paper.
I like to poop fast.
Yeah,
I'm a fast pooper.
I don't. I like to enjoy myself.
Is this a Seinfeld episode?
That's how you get
maybe.
prolapse.
Yeah.
Well,
you get
not that
hemorrhoids.
fast. I'm not trying to break speed records.
I think it's both ends. If you go
Foul
way
speed
too
record.
fast and you take way too long,
Yeah.
you're on opposite ends of making that happen.
I make my meals last 4 hours, but I poop in under 10 seconds. Dale
So
Earnhardt Jr.
Sarah's 5-year-old, whenever I'm over, like, he loves playing. We love hanging out. It's great, but he hates it if I have to go use the bathroom or something, because it's like, you're not playing with me. So what's the deal?
Oh my God, he's just like I was in high school.
Either he's got the mind of a 17-year-old or you had the mind of a 5-year-old.
Yeah, the latter.
Ding, 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 ding. So he times me now. So I'm like, okay, I'll be out in 2 minutes. And so I've gotten really good at pooping fast because I got to make
Whoa,
it.
That's really
work.
sweet.
But
Are you the only one watching him?
no.
Yeah, right.
Sarah's asleep. I can't handle
He's out
it. No,
The wine.
yeah, right.
It only takes 3 bottles and she's out.
It's 2 p.m. too. It's not. But
Wow.
because the other option is if not, then he's going to be at the door in 2 minutes knocking. Are you done? Are you done? Sort of thing. So yeah,
Oh, that's wonderful.
this is
I
what you
love
have to
it.
look forward to, Nico.
Just be like,
Yeah,
I'll be
Nico's
back
real
in
quiet.
37 minutes. And then when you're back early, you're like, hey, look at
It's not
that.
going to work. All this is
Magic.
going to make sense to you someday.
I'm gonna be back in one. Lost the name of a children's cartoon show.
One
I had it.
Googleplex,
Was it Paw Patrol? There it is.
one Odd Squad.
I'll be back in one Paw Patrol.
I'll be back
One
in 7
Paw
PayPals.
Patrol. I'm gonna share our feed here real quick.
Is
Uh-oh, did
Paw
it work?
Patrol, is it 2 like 13-second episodes or 1 20 whatever minute episode? Did I say that right? You know what I'm saying? Like cartoons will just like have
Oh, they'll smash them. Yeah,
2
no, it's a
episodes in
full
one
show.
30-minute.
Yeah, I think it's a one. It's a whole like 22-minute with a million commercials.
Right. Bow, bow, do, 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 do. Yeah, we're right after that. Okay.
I don't think I've ever watched an episode of Paw Patrol. Well, maybe. Oh,
That was in our age.
no. But I've got nephews, are 5, and so it's.
It's old, but all of a sudden at the costume shop, it hit like last year. Everyone's like, Paw Patrol, Paw
Yeah.
Patrol. And I'm like,
Really?
this show's like 15 years old.
All right. Wow.
Where have you people been?
Those kids these days. What do you
Right.
think the millennials
Well, I
are
think
going
they
to
canceled the K9.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I think
What did they do
genuinely
wrong?
Tried to cancel the K9.
You got a little
did
too
hear that.
humpy.
Yeah.
No, he's just a little bit too, wears a badge and such.
Oh, yeah.
So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
we
But-
had to get rid of him.
He doesn't have knees, so that's a plus, I guess.
Coast Guard puppy.
Wow.
Yeah.
God. He doesn't have knees.
You know.
Get out of here.
And he can't no thumbs either, so a lot of positive stuff. If dogs were cops, we'd be getting away with murder. Literally, you'd just be like, the dog would be like, "Did you murder that guy?" And you'd be like, and you just throw a tennis ball and you just run the other way. It would be great.
Every time. But like I want to see you go through every step and you're like at court and it's the same thing. It's a dog judge and you just throw the ball in court.
Court's adjourned.
And would it be like a poodle? Would that be you're like, oh, you got Judge Poodle. Uh-oh.
I'd be like, I hope I get Judge Basset Hound. Doop-a-doo.
Yeah.
Here we
Hey,
go.
guys. How we doing?
Roll over Beethoven, you've got Judge Poodle. You're screwed. Unless you have 3 tennis balls.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Judge was late to court because she had a groomer's appointment.
Again.
Again.
Expression time.
You walk into court, there's like it's just completely packed. They're like, "What is this? The morning cases haven't been dealt with yet.
Yeah.
We're
We
gonna
gotta-
be here a while."
We got a back of anal expressions taking a minute.
Poodle court, am I right?
Wow.
Wonderful. Well, so
We're off to a banging
For-
fight here.
how about you guys? Did you guys poop anywhere interesting this week?
Wait, hold on. Did I? I lost
No.
hot water for like barely any
45
time.
minutes.
Landlord was on a new water heater.
Nice. Wow.
Oh, that's
on
good.
it. My roommate, like, I get a text in the morning. It's like, oh, maybe I don't have hot water. Uh-oh.
Oh boy.
Well, that's
And
good. Shit.
Boom.
Yeah.
Came home at lunch. Done.
So what you're saying is you pooped in the shower.
Just waffle stomp it through the grate.
That's my long code for I just took a dump in the shower.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just like took a toothbrush.
Stuff it down with a toothbrush.
Just brush it in.
Oh God.
And then you're like, oh, I forgot to brush my teeth.
And then clean my roommate's toothbrush before I put it back. I give it the old rinse.
Bang, bang into the roof.
No. Stop.
It sounds like the exit music to that episode.
Oh, it's the exit music, all right.
So what are your thoughts on our
Oh.
new Fight Me logo?
I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I commented. I saw it, but I was.
It looks like candy. Like four
look-
candy.
man face candies. Yeah.
Like the crazy Pez dispenser of nightmares.
I was telling Nico that I'm just trying to break it open. I feel like I've been in a creative rut for a hot minute, and so I've just decided to just start doing whatever comes to mind and just rolling with it instead of being so precious with everything. And so that was part of this. So I was just like, I'm just gonna posterize our faces and turn our logo into colorfulness and put a crazy grid behind it. I just got nuts. So
Did you email it or?
no, I didn't send it out. It's just on our little overlay. If you hop onto like our live stream right now, you can see it in the bottom corner.
How
But-
would one get on a live stream?
You can use your phone. If you jump onto Facebook on your telephone, on your mobile device, that'll get you there. Or
I got it.
Sorry, I pre-gamed very well. before
yeah.
I
let me
got a lot of
text it.
stuff going on. All right, there's a lot of moving parts over here.
I stocked
I got-
14 grief
I got a-
targets at Target today. It was
I got a
long
poopy
day.
shower to clean.
Yeah. I mean, you know how long it takes to push that much feces with a little toothbrush? It takes a while.
And do you know how much
it's not
bleach
the
it
most
takes to
practical.
clean my roommate's toothbrush after that? A lot.
Oh, we're monsters.
Completely.
Oh, this is a great start.
Yeah, we're
All
starting it off. We're
We're
killing it.
rolling.
So
Got
for our first
2
ever
Facebook viewers.
hello Facebook viewers,
For
we
the two
apologize.
of you watching.
It's me and Eric.
I've been listening to the podcast Smartless, Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, and Sean Hayes. And the conceit of that show is it's pretty funny. One of them brings the guests on, the other two don't know who it's going to be, and so that's how it gets started. But they're hilarious because they just rip on each other constantly throughout the whole entire thing. Why was I talking about this? What did you just say before that?
Because this is how you were listening. We were about to go into Fight Me.
Yeah,
And you said,
I don't remember.
I've been
why.
listening to a podcast.
Yeah, don't know how I got there. Yeah, it's something to do with the
How much
toothbrush.
have you been pre-gaming?
Yeah. Oh, you know why I'm off my game? Because the store, the Safeway, the Poop Safeway, hasn't had limoncello LaCroix in
Oh, boy.
a week. So I've been drinking this pastique nonsense.
Storm
Apparently
the
that's
castle.
Is that a
watermelon
different
in...
brand or? a
No, it's
different flavor?
LaCroix, but it's watermelon in French. It's queeb stuff, as you say.
Ah, these queebs.
Yeah. So it's
gotta love 'em.
fine. It tastes like water. It's not
Melon.
limoncello though. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
What? You good? You have a question?
Yeah. No.
You
I'm
in the
just,
corner. The 5-year-old in
haven't-
the corner.
All right, I'll try to rein this back. I'll try to rein this back in. So because Fight Me was my idea.
It
so
was
Fight
Nico's idea.
Fight Me was an idea that I had when we were talking about. I can't remember which discussion created this idea in my
Yeah.
brain, but I think it was because there was a certain point where I was really for something, and like Brian or Matt was really against something,
Right.
and Eric was like in the middle ground on both sides. And I said, there are definitely topics in pop culture where feelings are strong one way or the other. Like
Yeah.
did
today.
midichlorians ruin Star Wars?
Right.
And you're like, it didn't. Fight me.
Nope. It built it.
Yeah, right. So it's that like I'm right, you're wrong, shut up. It's that kind of idea.
Yeah.
But then it kind of built into the Fight Me, where it'd be kind of like a fun debate type discussion where instead of just like talking about how great a movie is or something, but it actually apply that logic to some side argument or side perspective. And in doing so, it validates the strength of the film or the unstrength of the film versus just saying like, oh yeah, I saw this movie and it was good.
Yeah.
Thanks for the feedback. Like that's neat.
Right. A podcast, it's hard for a podcast to really get rolling when everyone goes, yeah, I love this. Me too. Well,
Yeah.
good night.
We've had a couple of those where we reviewed a movie or two that we all just kind of liked. And so the conversation kind of stops at about 25 minutes where you're just like,
Well,
cool.
we don't
moving
even
on.
notice. It's like we talk and then it just goes off the movie immediately.
Yeah.
And we're talking about something else. And then someone goes, oh, I guess we're done with the movie.
Right,
We're like,
right.
oh, are we not talking about it
Yeah.
anymore? Yes. There's
Pretty
not
much.
that vigor. There's not the passion.
The figure.
Yeah, I was gonna say something Italian, but I don't know.
So I think
Any
the
Italian?
nature of what I wanted to do with this was
Spaghetti.
the person who's bringing the Fight Me topic.
Yes.
It's kind of like you just like kick a door open into a crowded hall, you make your statement, and then you finish it with Fight Me.
Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie of all the Star Wars movies. Fight me.
How to begin with your incorrectness?
I am correct.
Well, I
Well,
have
so give some support.
qualifiers here.
Number one. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, though. We
Great
are
start.
going to take into account, like, we're not going to look at it as if it was the first or the only. Within the entirety of Star Wars and everything we know about Star Wars, it is the best. Number one,
Okay.
Anything that's been produced by under the Star Wars name,
movie.
Just movies.
Because I think The Mandalorian is the best. but we're gonna say the best Star Wars movie
Cinematic.
is is Rogue One, and the reason is so I'll give you my woke answer first. My
Okay.
number one, the perfect strong female lead. Jyn Erso is all the things that Padme Amidala isn't. She's all the things that
Have written for her. Yeah.
Shmi Skywalker isn't. She's all the things that even what's her name, Palpatine, Ray Palpatine,
Raymond.
Raymond Palpatine. She's all the things
Padme.
that Ray from the new Star Wars films.
Oh, I thought you were trying to think of other.
Her too, yeah, all of them. So if you think about Rey as a Star Wars character and this like strong female lead and this and this and this, it was like the character itself is not even close to as good as Jyn Erso. And in a way, it was kind of the same idea too. So, and Jyn Erso came first. So that's what's kind of interesting is the whole like orphan sort of situation and had to grow up on her own and was a bit of an outlaw and that kind of thing. All of that stuff already happened. Like we've already seen it and we saw it in Jyn Erso. So great story. That's number one. I'll give you 3 and then you guys can fight me. Okay.
All right. Sounds good.
Number 2 is it's realistic. While I don't necessarily love that everybody dies at the end, because I think that it would have been great if we could have like 3 Rogue Ones, it's a realistic guerrilla warfare story showing sort of like what a true rebellion would look like fighting against an army like the Empire. So you have levels of the resistance as well, where you've got like the true believers in Cassian Andor, you've got the terrorists in Saw Gerrera, and then you've got the people just trying to survive in Jyn Erso. But because she has a dog in the hunt once she figures out that her dad's alive, that creates sort of like the character arc. So fantastic. And number 3, it's got like the perfect blend between CG and practical effects. You've got the practical stuff in the towns and the explosions and the stormtroopers and all the things. And it's got great VFX. Like watching that movie was sort of like the first time I felt like I was back in the Star Wars world. I feel like the new films and the prequels were just like destroyed by CGI. It's just all CG all day long and they're awful. This one brought back the practical effects and has the CG, and it has, as a bonus, the perfect amount of nostalgia boner. You've got just enough nostalgia, like for one, just like the look. They brought back the mustaches and the 70s look and kind of like integrated that perfectly well. But also you get to see Yavin in a different way and certain little things from the original trilogy that were really enjoyable to see. And they introduced new, like not necessarily new characters, but new versions of old characters, like the Shore Trooper. I think is a really cool character. It's like it's like the perfect little blend between Stormtrooper and Scout Trooper. So I just love the Shore Trooper. It's like my favorite new character from the whole thing. So those are my few reasons why Rogue One is the best Star Wars movie ever. Fight me.
So, okay. Because one other thing in the qualifying is Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this and Solo have the distinct pleasure of being contained stories, while the others are all part of a trilogy, which makes it a little different. So you're not counting that.
Which is also a reason why I like it. No, I mean, it's the best one of Star Wars, Empire, blah, 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 all of them. Yep, absolutely.
Despite...
You're talking head to head. You put them
Hope
side by side. It constantly pops.
Yeah, for sure. Thoughts, concerns, criticisms?
I'll give you it's the best Disney Star Wars
Yeah.
movie that
Topo
they
Chico.
have made.
Yes.
Although I do like the
Not a
garbage
sponsor.
of Last Skywalker. So
You did like that garbage
I
fire of a
like
movie.
garbage. That was my kind of garbage.
Yeah. It's not my
All right.
kind of garbage at all.
So my big this comes with a disclaimer. I liked Rogue One.
Yeah.
But the disclaimer for
I like a Rogue One.
I like the Rogue One.
Annie, you grown up.
In an effort to give this full force, which I really want to do,
God.
the reason that Rogue One is not the greatest Star Wars film is because in the scope of the cinematic universe that they've created, this movie only exists because of the poor planning of George Lucas when writing the original 456. And what I mean by that is this movie only exists to retcon the largest loophole in Star Wars history, which is how does the Empire build a giant planet-destroying base and overlook the fact that there's a straight pipe right to the reactor. So if that mistake had not been made, if that planning hadn't been done, if that had been completely overlooked, this movie doesn't even exist.
That supports
So-
my whole theory.
No, but that's what makes it so weak is that they were like, we've got this giant hole in our well thought out universe, pun intended, that we have to plug somehow because it's really, really bad. The fact that there's we try to bestow these amazing machinations upon the Empire of all their planning and but how do they miss this? And it's one of the longest running debates until Rogue One, and the solution is interesting and unique and good. But then if you think about the fact that they then said, okay, so now we've got this idea on how to plug this giant loophole. What do we do? Like, okay, we plug it. Well, how do we do it? Let's introduce a bunch of great characters for an hour and 45 minutes and then shove it up your nose because they're gone. So that's why it's not the best.
Right.
Is because it's like you've got K2SO, which is fantastic, voiced by Alan Tudyk, who's a national treasure. You do have a strong female character, the strongest female character that is just sitting on a gravestone the whole time.
Yeah.
Like you don't know who she is, which means she dies.
Right.
So all the while you're watching this movie, you're like, I want to get attached, but I can't because they're dead. I want to get attached. Yep, they're gonna die too. So there's all this amazing potential that they just washed out because of the reason that this movie even exists to begin with.
Right.
That's why it's not the greatest movie, is because they got this terrible reason for existence, and then they put in way too much effort to build these amazing characters just to be like, sorry, buddy, end credits.
So
That's why it's not the greatest.
Even though you know after watching Saving Private Ryan that everybody dies.
Wait, what?
No, you don't. See, that's where Saving Private Ryan is super good, is because you don't know who the old man is at the beginning of Saving Private Ryan.
Right.
Because
and unfortunately at the end,
because
you don't
Spielberg
care.
does this amazing focus where it's like you see the old man walking up to the gravestone, and then it focus swaps, whatever the term is, it fade swaps to Tom Hanks. So you're like, that's obviously who I was looking at this whole time. And it's not until the very, very end when he gets shot and you're like, what?
It
What is
wasn't
happening?
him.
That they then do the exact thing in reverse from Matt Damon to the old man. But it's like, that's why that makes that a great movie.
Right. So
Matt
what
Damon.
if Cassian, the TV show,
Yeah.
begins and we're
I hope
given
he's driving a Corvette. Just like an American Corvette. Not trying Star Warsize it.
Do you want the movie to start exactly the way that Wonder Woman 84 started, with that like Trans Am?
Or it'll be like Star Trek, yeah, where he's like the little kid stole the Mustang,
yeah.
he's driving around Iowa.
Yeah.
No, I see that's like
What if
No, I
that's
won't
why-
throw J.J. Abrams garbage on it.
but that's why it continues
Yeah.
to make this movie not the best one, is because again they create this amazing character string, this amazing pool of characters, and then they put all this effort into it, just knowing that they're gonna have to wipe them out. So
Yeah,
they
it's
they
Titanic.
painted themselves in a corner, and they're like, well, crap.
well, just because everyone dies doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah, it is. because it's a bad movie because it is built in with the knowledge that all of them die. So all of the emotion it's pulling from you is fake. It's fleeting and it's false. And it's like when K2SO makes jokes, I'm laughing. When he decides to lock them in the vault and then takes a million blaster shots, I was like, oh man, I had emotion. But then like the immediate thing that snapped me back was like, well, it doesn't matter because I don't know who these people are.
Oh,
like they were dead before I even knew them.
I don't like that perspective at all because it's
That's
given.
why it's not the best.
It's given people. It's you're not. I was gonna say something really stupid,
but it's disingenuous. That's why it's not the best. It's
honoring their memory.
Number 4 is called A New Hope, which at the end of it gives you a new hope. You're like, yes, the rebels can defeat the Empire. This one is called Rogue One. Put them in a blender.
Kinda, yeah. But
cook the planet. That's what it's called.
I think
so. Again, I just have to preface: I do like Rogue One, but I am going to give this full beans against it.
Constructed
Shoot all them beans
from just don't turn your beans somewhere else. We don't need your beans this way. As a movie, as a film, from like it is the best one because it has a story that makes sense. It goes from point A to point Z and it makes sense. It's a full loop. It's got the best acting. There's not a single weak actor in this entire thing.
That's fair.
At all. You can go to each one of the Star Wars movies and you can kind of go.
Except Forrest Whitaker.
What are you talking about? He's great.
No, he might be good, but his
here to kill me.
Yeah, he might be okay.
I think of that
but
line.
the character that he's playing is such. It's like somebody read the outline of what Obi-Wan Kenobi was supposed to be as like the mentor. Like somebody read that but didn't quite read all of it. So like, oh yeah, it's that guy. He's the one who taught her everything she knows. It's fine. And Obi-Wan died, so he has to die. Man.
I do want a series of the behind the scenes with actors that are getting into Star Wars as an actor and have never watched the movies, or like Marvel, and the actor is just sitting there while the executives or Kevin Feige is trying to explain. Okay, so Scarlet Witch goes blah 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 blah, and Vision's over here, and then your character comes in, and they're just like, what? Yeah. What's the checks? What do the checks look like? Great.
Got it.
Give me the script.
Well, I kind of felt that way I watched only got like through halfway of it because I think I've seen Iron Man, the original Iron Man, quite a few times, and so was watching that a few weeks ago with Sarah and Terrence Howard, right? And he played the first Rhodey. It was like, like you want to look at it and be like, you know what a jet is, right? Like, you're in the military. Like, it was just weird. The whole
like when he said jet, it seemed like he doesn't know what that word means.
Because there's that moment where he's in the hangar, like showing the other pilots around, and he's just like, "This is the fastest plane in the whole Air Force," and you're just kind of like, what is going on? That man's never touched metal. I don't even know what this is. What is? And then, but also the other pilots. There were a bunch of girls who were like 4'9", and some of the guys were just like giant blobs. And he was like, none of them are pilots. I know this is not even.
You're talking to the janitors that you cornered. Hey guys, you want to see something cool? Y'all catch a jet as he strokes the coffee machine.
Because I know what it was. Like at least in their case. Like I've been in those situations where you're in like the cafeteria at the studio, and the second AD has been given the task to come in and pick 5 pilots, and so she or he are just like because I got picked to be a photographer one time for a movie as an extra.
Do you hold the camera upside down?
Well, no, because she literally, there was 200 of us in there, and she somehow saw my face, was like, he's a photographer,
Let's put a camera in front of his face.
Yeah, I was holding my hands like this.
She's like your fortune teller.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Wow, she was kind of right. Yeah. I'd never even held a camera.
Was she one of those Martian mutants from Total Recall?
Well, but when she said, you can be a photographer, what I told her was, well, I'm actually a pilot. So you happen to be doing Iron Man? Because
Look, babe, I'd love to be your photographer, but I got pilot material written
I'm a
all over me.
pilot.
She's like, okay, this guy's gonna be the usher.
Yeah.
Ow.
So we're making a hockey film.
I was also an
Yeah.
usher. Yeah, I was an usher once too.
Don't worry, I'll put my Maverick onesie on. I got it ready.
Let's see, what else can I say?
I was the
about
fattest
not being
usher. I was fat then.
Best.
I was
The other
Were
thing
you though?
that makes it not the
bit.
best film
Yeah.
is
bleak face.
there's no Jedi.
We don't need.
Yeah.
I don't need them.
No
There's-
lights.
there's no-
laser swords.
The
But
only-
there was
the only-
conversations about Jedi though.
But so in fairness,
But
the
they
only
had conversation.
the only true demonstration of the Force is when Vader hacks through the people on the Corvette. That's it.
There, he's a Jedi.
Oh, I forgot.
Darth Vader's a
It's
Jedi.
a lightsaber.
Yep.
But
He
that
goes on murder.
so you have
fest.
to, so you're
Yeah, it
telling
does.
me that I have to sit through an hour and 55 minutes for a scene that I already know is going to happen.
That's the whole. That's Star Wars.
That's not a good
that's,
movie.
That's Star Wars though. I mean,
That's
like,
not-
when
That's
does
like
the first?
Titanic.
When do any of the lightsaber battles ever happen in the first 3 movies? Not until the end.
No, they have a light. They use lightsabers in the first like 5 minutes of episode 1.
Oh no,
use
sorry. The originals.
the good ones.
I can't. Yeah, I don't count those as canon. They're
I will
garbage.
stand by the first 40
Episode
minutes
1,
of
2,
episode
3 are
3 are fun.
I don't even remember that. What happened?
It's great.
Fight
People
me.
hate it because there's some droids in there, and they go, "We don't like droids." They go, "Yeah, I know it's freaking stupid. It's different. Just enjoy it."
No, I'm serious. Tell me what happens. I don't remember.
In episode
It's
1.
they're
3.
racing to go to fight Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Oh, please,
they're in
say
the-
his
yeah,
name.
He's got
Say
he's
his
got
name.
he's got the capital ship because he quote unquote
He-
kidnapped
He's
Palpatine.
kidnapped the Chancellor, so
Yeah.
they're going to rescue the Chancellor. So they're in their little zippity zoos.
Yeah, the Jedi
My
fighters.
thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the zippity zoos. And
That's why you like it,
yeah.
because they're in zippity zoos.
you got my favorite thing, zippity zoos. You got droids. And then the Obi-Wan gets hit with the little droids that everyone hates, the
Buzz droids. Yeah.
Oh,
and they're
yeah.
eating up his ship.
Mm-hmm.
And Anakin avoids him because he's, awesome.
The best
flying.
pilot ever.
He's
Got it.
great at everything.
Yep.
Mary Sue over here. There. Does that make everyone happy?
Let's call him Barry Sue.
Mary Sue. That's
Uh-huh.
the answer.
Yeah,
to
he's a
that.
Barry Sue. It's a regular Barry Sue. Is that all that
Yeah, they
happens?
go get the
Spaceships?
Chancellor, but then they take out Dooku, save the Chancellor.
do.
The Chancellor clearly shows that he's a Sith or at least a Jedi because he's like doing acrobatics that are like sight unseen, and they're not like they don't go. How did this 80-year-old man not fall down this chasm? How did he know to grab my Jedi robe and do a backflip? Huh, that's weird. Well, on with the show. Yeah, talk about plot holes. There you go.
All right.
Right.
And then
Gravity's
Grievous,
weird.
and they fight Grievous, and it's wacky. It's fun wackiness.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And then they have to land the broken ship, and Obi-Wan has a little quip at the end.
What does he say?
He goes, "Another happy landing." And he mugs.
I wonder if
Bugs,
Ewan's ever just
bugs,
upset
shoots
about
through
this.
that
And it
line.
just stays on him for like 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you know what happened today? I took out Dooku at Safeway,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
bet you did.
and it was faster than 15 minutes of mugging. I'll tell you that.
Did you also say, "I've been waiting a long time for this"?
I did, and I also, just for fun, I just yelled "Buzz droids" from the urinal.
And then you said, "My powers have doubled since the last time I fought you, Dooku." And then you blew out your right.
Wow.
But I used the Force to put it back in.
That's the day I prolapsed my rectum.
Right. So people saw me sitting here going like this. What are you doing? Putting my rectum back in.
It's very delicate.
Very, very delicate. Now, I can't, with those movies, caught a little bit of
I love them.
episode 2. It's just garbage.
Oh yeah.
What were your
episode 2 is a
I'm trying,
rust.
what were your other points? So the strong female
Female character.
character.
Can't
Sorry,
argue. Can't
Rogue
argue with
One.
me on
I
that
am
one.
going to talk about Rogue One tonight. I promise you, it's
Can't-
going to happen.
But you can't.
By the
You
very
can't
end.
argue in all female character
Okay.
in all
So
the
let me
movies.
give my concessions.
Yeah.
I'll take popcorn and Twizzlers.
Yes,
Pretty good.
I'll take them.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay. So as a contained story, I'd probably have to say it's number 2 to the original, A New Hope.
Okay.
Because I think that was a contained story. It was made not knowing if a sequel could be made, so it had to be its own
Start to
beginning,
finish.
middle,
Yeah,
and
Sure.
done so. Empire is my favorite movie of all time, but it's definitely a middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in its own little world.
Yeah.
And then you only have Solo, which was fine, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't have a desire to rewatch it.
Mm-mm.
And it beat that. Okay, so for the good things, the visuals. So going into this, I was like, oh, great. We're going to see, let me guess, we're going to see walkers. We're going to see X-Wings. I was being very like a whiny baby, knowing that I'm like, oh, I got to watch more Empire era Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
Of all the Star Wars that they could be playing with, we're
Mhm.
still at X-Wings. And I'm
Right.
like, oh, you guys got to start advancing. So I went into this ready to just be a jerk in the theater and go, oh, wow, an X-Wing. Yeah. Be that guy until I get booed and I
You're
leave.
amazing. I want to go watch it with you.
So that's what I wanted to go in doing. And I didn't do that. Immediately off the bat, Conor McGregor, what's the director's name? Gavin McLeod. I can't remember. Something like that.
Gavin John. No, I don't know.
Yeah, he'll come to us. We
Yeah.
can look it up. But the visuals immediately when what's his butt is flying down in his little ship,
Yeah.
and they're passing. It's like a Saturn type looking planet, and it flies down. And immediately the visuals, I was like, oh, they get to be artistic in this one.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a
Yep.
board, executive Disney board saying, we need a Millennium Falcon, and it's got to look just like this.
Mm-hmm.
You immediately went, oh, someone has a style, and I'm going to see it. And oh boy, the boys at ILM and Skywalker Ranch got to have fun. They got
Mhm.
to use their talents. So immediately I said, okay, this is going to be different. And through the whole movie, I agree. I think that end space battle is
It's nice.
probably by far the best.
Mm-hmm.
I think it even beats Return of the Jedi.
Ooh, wow.
That's hard to say
Yeah.
because that one's really dynamic.
Jedi's good. Yeah.
Jedi's great. So, but it gets up to Jedi. I'll say that. And that's where Gareth Edwards.
Gareth
his name, I
Edwards.
think
Yep.
is his name. So they were starting to get into, it's kind of the Avatar technology, I think, when they're doing the effects. He was able to take a camera and go, okay, I'm in this 3D world that they've created with they created the battle first. They went, this ship goes here and this happens and all this. And they created it in a 3D map. And then he can come in and go, okay, play it and let me find my camera angles.
Mm.
And so that's how he built the scene. And you're like, that's amazing. And I think that's what James Cameron started with Avatar. That's
Yeah.
why Avatar was a big deal with people that go, oh, wow, who cares? So that got the most dynamic version of everything that's happening. You go, wow, they found the best shots. That's awesome. You can't really storyboard that,
Yeah.
Like you got
Well,
to
you
do it.
you
day of.
can, but then getting it to line up in space so that you're not breaking like, fourth wall or like, wait, that ship was over there a second ago. How is it now under and going the other direction? Like,
Yeah.
You
well, I
avoid
mean, there's
that.
that, but I think just creativity. I think if you're creating your shots at that level where the battles happened and you're sitting in a simulator of that battle and
Yeah.
plotting all your shots, I think you're going to come up with stuff someone would never do if they
Yeah.
were making storyboards.
no, that's fair.
Which is what
That's my argument.
Favreau's been doing with The Mandalorian, because that was all tech that he was using on Jungle Book and Lion King and a couple other things. So that's actually what he's doing as well, where they kind of build the world, and then he can kind of hop in there and figure out what's going on in the world, and then they can map it out in real life based upon how he kind of figures up how it's going to work in the virtual world, in the CG world.
Now, the Void thing, did he come up with that? That existed for Oblivion. I think that was the first time they used that new giant rear projection digital idea. I think it was Oblivion.
Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe that was ILM,
Yeah.
assuming.
I forget. Yeah. Well, and they were using, I don't remember. What's it called? It's called the
volume?
The volume. That's what it's
they call
called.
it on the
Yeah.
Mandalorian,
Yeah. But that's, because that's the other thing too, is what's interesting about that is the background moves in proportion with how the camera is moving, so that it keeps everything not only in proper distance and focal length, but also moves it appropriately for how it would truly, move according to the camera. So, which is pretty dang cool.
And I'm just remembering Rogue One does use this as well.
Yeah.
So I think Favreau came into the system and went, this is how you guys are doing this. Because like Jungle Book, that's all mocap and crap, probably. If even. I don't even know how they made those. So yeah. But anyways, it uses all these great technologies. However, there's the Tarkin thing and the Leia thing. Not deep fake CGI that we do have to talk about. But John Knoll, the guy who came up with the story, who worked at ILM during the prequels, whose brother helped to build Photoshop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this guy, John Knoll, is the one that's like, we can do it. We can do it. This is my story. You've given me the power. Let's do Tarkin. And he's very advanced looking.
Yeah.
But at no point do you go, whoa, I just kind of bought that he was real. I go, look at that fancy looking robot up there.
All right. Which,
it was
why is
very
that a bad
digital.
thing?
What?
Is that a bad thing, though?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it a bad
you
thing?
stop, you go, oh, I have to listen to what the weird robot's saying also.
Right.
And they're telling me I'm not supposed to notice that it's fake. It takes your brain out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
Thanos
would have been
didn't take
better.
my brain out of Thanos, but they haven't gotten there with humans yet. It's just,
Gotcha. So because
Exactly.
it's supposed to be a human, that's why it pops you out of it?
Yeah, because we've been,
Gotcha.
genetically and evolutionarily,
Yeah.
we have learned to go, that's a human, that isn't, that's attractive, that's
Yeah.
maybe not.
That's
Yeah.
a Thanos. Although I
And
thought
I would
Thanos
agree
was
that
hot.
it fails there too, because it does the thing of it. He is supposed to be Moff Tarkin before we know Moff Tarkin, so he's already
By
quote
like
unquote
4 months.
right.
Yeah.
But let me get it though. He's supposed to be slightly younger, but when we saw him live, and then in our brains the images have aged him, we know that guy should be older. So our brain is saying that guy's old, but then your story brain is like, no, he's young. So that's why it's hard to reconcile the younger digital image when your brain's going, God, that guy's got to be like 85 or dead at this point.
Right.
So and then you get like weird shadow and stuff, and or if they're trying to create a younger Tarkin, but they go like too young, so that everything is like really smooth, like there's no wrinkles.
And I'm like, this bitch is going
I-
goo goo gaga. It went way too far.
I didn't.
Well, you know what? But it's like
I didn't read that he
it's-
looked supposed to look younger.
No,
no,
that's
no,
not
but
my argument at all. Is his age is he looks CGI as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
I
I'm
go,
saying the
I'm
age is
looking at
a side effect of
the-
that.
So does it make
for
me?
It's the texturing on the face. It's they overdo every little pore and stuff. They're like, we can do it, man. We can do 4K, whatever, and we're gonna put every blemish. And you're like, the old camera didn't pick any of this crap up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you want to speak to that, maybe that's what you're speaking to.
That's a
Yes.
really
Like,
interesting
way too
point,
much.
though. Yeah, so I, not to
His
talk
nose
about
was
me all
slightly
the time
red.
again, but
Let's
I've
bring
got
it back to
this. Bring her right back around to me. I've been working with mirrorless cameras for a very long time, and so obviously it's a digital sensor, and it tends to, and it sharpens real life in a way.
Yep.
And I just got this FX9, which is a camera that's designed more for, well, it's designed in a way for broadcast, but it's a fantastic camera for documentary and for film work because it's much softer. And so it almost looks like it has like a Hollywood sort of like filter on it already, like that sort of like soft thing, because it just renders people's skin tones more naturally. And you don't see the pores and the this and the that, even though it's actually got more megapixels than the cameras I usually use.
Right.
The way that it renders is it renders it in a soft filmic sort of way. So when we're talking about how we know people, like we know Luke Skywalker's face a certain way because of film and film stock and how it ages, and even after all the THX and this and that. So that's a really interesting point. I never thought about why maybe. See, so I bought it. I just decided when I watched Rogue One for the first time, I was like, I'm buying this. I'm buying in on Moff Tarkin. Like I'm just going there, and I let it wash over me, and I loved it. But
Tarkin.
I think that it just wash over me. Love that Tarkin, and then I started getting zits. So yeah, and I think that maybe that's part of the failing there is that. Because they're working with so much technology, it can make things so detailed, they forget about what film really looks like on human skin.
And even because, like, is at the point where I'm like, I see the Tarkin, and then when they go back to Krennic, I'm looking at Ben Mendelsohn going, how many details do I see on his face?
Less.
And that's what I'm doing while they're having a hissy fit contest, a pissing contest with each other.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I'm in the scene, I'm listening, I'm hearing it, but my brain's also doing this conversation.
It's hard to do when especially when like they're in the same scenes together, and and you can tell that one is totally digital and one is totally human.
Yeah.
So your brain immediately separates the two, and sometimes like some people can just ignore it and move on. Some people it just latch on, and you're like, I know that's a CG character. I've stopped listening to what they're saying because now, I'm analyzing the digital character, not the words of the digital character.
Yeah, my monkey brain won't shut up, and I'm here, but my monkey brain is acting up.
I let my monkey brain shut off.
And sometimes I can. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to remember the theatrical experience. I went to the theater. I watched it twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so you liked it enough.
And I still even said, okay, they're getting closer with people. Because, around that time is like every couple of years you'd see, they're going to do Schwarzenegger digital. How's that going to look? Oh, they're doing Jeff Bridges and Tron. How's that going to, So we've kind of experienced these starting from the absolute scariest movie ever, Polar Express,
Right.
the most uncanny valley,
Nightmare Valley.
it's like we're on the road out of Polar Express. Thank God.
And yet, deep fake is still doing it better.
Deepfake is better because it's a whole different approach.
Yeah, whole different thing.
It's using visuals as opposed to building something from the ground up digitally.
Right. And we could talk about Princess Leia. I mean, it didn't bum me too hard because I knew what to expect. And I think I might have seen a leak of the face, so I kind of already knew that it wasn't quite all the way there. I've seen a deep fake of her face, and it's great. Like, so much better. Good. But female faces are so much harder because they're not so craggy and angular, and there's not so much stuff going on like there is with guys.
Soft and
because you saw that too, like you see that a lot so we grew up in the 80s and 90s, and so that was back in the day when posters were still done by hand. So like a lot of the traditional Star Wars posters, the drawings, and those were, if there was ever one that was really screwed up, it was always the girl. It was always the girl face. It was like something just slightly off on it. The guy who did all of the Star Wars posters, he was always pretty spot on. But yeah, so the Princess Leia deepfake or the Princess Leia CGI isn't great, but I do love that they went ahead and just tied in they're just like, we're just gonna butt this one right up against. We're gonna shove our Corvette right into the.
And
into episode 4.
I think part of it too is that is that
right
while
Cassian.
Moff Tarkin is a pivotal character, I wouldn't have been completely upset with not recasting, but finding somebody who looked like it and then doing like a prosthetic like a practical makeup. Because I think the guy who played Moff Tarkin, whose name I can't remember, didn't have like very just. I mean, he had distinct features, but easily recreatable through makeup features.
Well, they just mapped his face is all though.
No, but what I'm getting at is instead of doing that,
Mm-hmm.
instead of spending the money and time and effort, I don't mind that they did with Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia, but with Tarkin, it's like you could fudge that, and we would all be kind of like, yeah, okay,
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean,
But, like-
it's a tough one. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, just because of like for me,
He's
it's
so
the iconic.
gaunt.
It's the iconic level though. Like
Yeah.
everyone knows what Leia looks like. They know that Carrie Fisher was unavailable, so they're like,
Had
like,
just become.
yeah,
just
right.
That
So
was
it's
a
like
week or two
everyone's
before
like,
opening.
don't try
Oh.
to. I do not take old footage, slice it up, and try to jam it in there. Go 100% GG. I'm okay with this. Just do it. That's fine. That's fine. But with Tarkin, it's like they could have found an actor
Mhm.
and then used makeup to mimic. In my opinion,
I don't know. I don't think so.
it would have been. I'm not. But it's.
I think
this
if
is
they had
what's
done
weird.
that, we'd be arguing, why didn't they do CG? CG's
Christian
come so
Bale.
far. Yeah.
Right, but this is what I'm getting at. It's like that's where like this type of
Gain
stuff
some weight, Christian
becomes a
Bale.
debate. Like they sat a bunch of the producers and the director and the studio sat in a room and said, "All right, we've got these challenges. What do you want to do?" And they probably went round and round and round about what they want to do with it.
I don't even know if they asked Gareth Edwards any questions. Sometimes I just don't know what was going on with. I don't even know what the heck's going on
Did
with
it
Lucasfilm right now.
have
Anyways,
behind the scenes problems. I don't.
yeah,
think
yeah, they fired
did
him. Well, not fired him. They completed the movie, and then did not hire him back for the reshoots. They hired,
Right.
what's his name?
Firefly.
Tony. It's a guy who wrote Michael Clayton. His brother wrote and directed Nightcrawler. Burp. Anyways, not exactly
Not the same guy.
not the same guy,
Not the
and
same
not
guy.
the same
That was-
aesthetic at
it was
all.
like, well, they blame Kathleen Kennedy. I don't know what the hell the story is, but yeah, it seemed like maybe it's Kennedy. His producers kept movie after movie going. Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
because it happened on Rogue One. It happened on
Solo.
Solo. You know, it's happening in Mandalorian. There's just a lot of stuff going on that's like
Yeah.
that seems to be a
The
kerfuffle.
creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not given the freedoms.
Mhm.
They go, oh yeah, have all the freedom, have all your fun. Wait, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Which, like you're talking, Nico.
JK
I'm sure.
Kitty.
What's her name? Jenkins. They're now going. So what's that Rogue One idea again?
Yeah.
Run it by us one more time.
Right.
I just got to the episode I'm running in the morning where we're talking about Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
So this is fresh.
Are we?
It's a
are we
fresh
funny?
sting. It's pretty good.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, no, it like I said, for me, the reason it's not the best film is because the nature for its existence is bogus to begin with. The fact that they had to create this movie to fill a plot hole that
Here's
I
the
don't
plot.
blame George Lucas for creating, because when he made A New Hope, he's like, I don't think this is like they had no idea if this was going to work or not. So they
Foolproof.
definitely, but they weren't going through the process of being like, hey, we need to step through all this stuff and make sure it even makes sense.
Nope.
Right? That's not a thing they did.
Well, but also at that point in time, there was no there were no movies like it, and there were no stories like it. There was nothing like it. So they were just like, oh wow, that's so interesting. There's a hole that if you shot a photon torpedo into the hole, it blows it up. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Well,
Right.
because at the end of the day, it's supposed to be the big guy underestimates the underdog. That's what
100%.
the whole
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is, right? That,
Yeah.
as far as plot goes, that's what our brains buy. Now, yeah, other people that are more analytical say, what?
Mhm.
I'm supposed to believe this empire that's accomplished all of this doesn't have the engineers that would think through this.
Yeah.
Screw you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because
I
you
get
think
it.
about
It's true.
like, logistically, like when you, so there's the story of the hotel in Vegas that
So I'm glad
they
we have
started
you.
building it,
Mhm.
and then the city engineer came in, looked at the plans, and said, "Cool, so you guys going to cap it off tomorrow?" And they're like, "What are you talking about? We got 30 more floors to build." He's like, "Actually, you don't, because you didn't put the right rebar in the foundation."
Oh,
So-
no.
So the fact that an empire would have been like, "Hey, what's this who ordered 2 miles of straight metal tube? I don't know. Don't worry about
It's
it.
an exhaust port though, because the reactors need an exhaust port.
Unless the Empire's more like China. That's just slamming, just put the foot down on the accelerator to modernize. And it was like jamming up skyscrapers.
They did a good job of that.
Couldn't hold themselves.
Of like
maybe
the
the
reason
Empire's
that,
for that.
right. The reason that Urso comes back into it is because Kinnick's or Finnick, whatever, Mendelssohn's character, Krennic, thank you. Krennic is like, listen, I'm behind schedule, and the Empire is not behind schedule.
Mm-hmm.
There is no excuse for behind schedule. So I'm going to bring my death troopers to your house. I'm going to wipe out your family no matter what. You're coming with me. Don't care. You can tell me they're dead. We're still going to incinerate your home. They don't call them the death trooper because they give out hugs.
Right.
So they come in and they take him, and it's like, do this work. And and it's an interesting concept. I think, again, it's the fact that it only exists because of the loophole. And then you put so much effort into creating great characters, knowing full well that they're going to get about 20 minutes of screen time. And that's all we're ever going to know of them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Because like for the nerd fans, maybe that's one of the reasons I don't like it either. Again, I liked it. But the reason I don't like it either is because
the reason why it's not the best.
You introduced such amazing lore, like the stuff with Forrest Whitaker's character about hunting the Empire, who's hunting Kyber crystals. He knows what they're using it for. The idea that the Death Star is a Kyber crystal, is a lightsaber. It's a planet-sized lightsaber, is awesome. These are great ideas that they shoved into a movie that is a ending blender. That is just, here are a bunch of great ideas. We're going to throw them all the way, though. I mean, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming and spending your money, but don't get attached because I promise you, we're going to kill everyone.
Yeah, this was a one shot. Oh, you liked it? Sorry.
Whoops. Sorry about
we'll
that.
make prequels? We don't know.
All right.
We
so that's why, again, I liked it.
Into a corner. Yeah.
But that's why it's not the greatest movie, is because its sole purpose for existence is to plug a hole, and then they put all this effort into it, and you're like, but I want that. Like, well, I appreciate that you want that, but you can't have it. And they scrape the fillet right into the trash can. And you're like, well, no, come on.
But then they went, oh, wait, you really wanted it? Okay, here, let's get it out of the trash. It's okay. Splap back onto the skillet. Let's just put on some heat. It's good, man.
Yeah,
let's do
fine.
it. And
so that's why it's
Andor the series.
All right, fine. I'm gonna stick to my guns.
It's fair.
It's
okay,
the best one.
Else,
but
where are we at? Oh, yeah, we're at an hour.
Yeah, we can move on from this one because it's
I thought
fine.
That was a good first one, though.
I'm right.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And you guys,
you know, for people that argue about that movie, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I do think it's good. I think maybe tone. Maybe that's the one thing. If I would put a cap on my thoughts on it, are you don't get to have. Yeah, you have fun at the end in the space battle. That's
funnish,
so dynamic. It's fun. But everywhere else, you don't get to have fun. You go, oh, this is war, and war means people die.
Well, even
it is very serious.
Star Wars.
Yeah,
even the pilot that they pull the information from, his process is Saul Guerrera. That's Forrest Whitaker's character name, Saul Guerrera. His process for getting information from the pilot is to essentially feed it to a brain parasite and be like, I'm gonna get the information. You're gonna be a little jacked up, but I don't care. Like, oh, come on, man. Like, that's a mess. That kind of stuff. It's like, what kind of tone are you? Like, that's not a fluffy little Ewok. What is this brain bug that you just exposed him to?
Right. So I think, in that way, if you're going to talk about brand, it's slightly off brand in that way.
Yes.
But it feels more grounded. Whatever the idea of terrorist guerrilla warfare, all that business, it makes Star Wars very gray. It says, hey, our heroes were gray. There's no black and white in this one.
Yep.
And that's a different feel.
Well, there's a lot more like
hate it.
direct visible violence too. Like when there's the tank assault in the city, like you see guys getting shot and falling. You see guys getting blown up when the tank goes versus like just slightly off screen, and then like just debris comes into frame. Like no, you watch a guy get like his arm taken off,
Yeah.
which I know that happens in the cantina, but you know what I'm getting at. Like it's much more direct.
That's
like
saved for special laser swords, where this one is like, a grenade blew up and people got shrapnel.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, brand wise, it's a little off.
Mhm.
So I feel so to conclude, in conclusion of this, I appreciate your, fighting me on this. But but let's allow some room for changing our mind, because maybe maybe I think at the end of the day you guys might have changed my mind a little bit. But we would have to maybe talk about what is then the best one. We could come to a team consensus at some point in time for what is the best. But, for now, we'll call it Rogue One just to,
Well, you know what?
All
For
right.
you being a Star Wars fan of all time and not saying one of the first two, that's
Right.
huge.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Or something from the first trilogy.
Yeah.
So, it's a good sign.
Yeah, it's a good sign. I just, things change. When you poop at a Safeway, it changes a man.
Your life changes.
That
Changes
was
your
a
whole
big
perspective.
experience for you.
Oh, yeah.
You want to talk about this off?
Mountain Dew lady
camera?
just sitting right outside the door, waiting for me to get out. She did smile at me like this very.
sweetie, it's gonna be right back over here. Yeah.
It was a very knowing smile when I came out.
I had an idea. What does she have, a 2-liter with a giant straw sticking out of it?
There's no straw, man. She's not a straw type of girl.
Just straight
Yeah.
line in it.
She was
I have a fun.
She was full mouthing
behind the
it,
scenes story.
I want to see her finding that straw while she's talking to you.
You want to switch into Nerds After Dark, and you can tell
I
us your
think so.
story? Yeah.
Thanks for
sounds
listening
good.
to Fight Me, everybody.
Thank you for listening to Fight Me.
Fight Me number
First
1.
episode of Fight Me. We'll see when we're not sure when the next one will be, but it'll be a recurring
I think
series.
I know. It's called Starship Troopers.
Oh
No, it's called Battlefield Earth. Damn.
Battlefield Earth. There you go.
Yeah,
Also good.
Battlefield
Also-
Earth is
also
a real
good.
Fight Me.
Oh yeah, that's a really good. Okay, we'll have to do that one on the next one. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to Fight Me on the Smoking Hot Nerds podcast. We will see you next week with another episode. But for now, we're transitioning into Nerds After Dark, the chat show where anything goes. We catch up on the events of the week. That pink is real harsh on my face.
That's what
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, tell us more about your Bumble date.
yeah. My Bumble date is let's touch base in 3 months.
Yeah, right.
That's where I'm at with Bumble. Yeah.
Oh man, the Bumble machine.
So you have your story reminded me of a story I have where I through circumstance I ended up in the employee area of the Hogwarts ride at Universal.
I love that it went there.
So
Wow.
I'm not
I
gonna
love it.
I won't go into how I got down there, but I was down there.
thought
and
this was a leaky cauldron. No, sorry. Where's Ollivander's?
Did he say Diagon, Ellie? Yeah. So I'm in there and I'm standing there waiting for something, and it's the same thing, right? You have all the magic of Universal Studios and Disney where everything is themed and dressed and all this stuff, and then you end up in like this basement break room where there's like a whiteboard and there's like a X days without incident and like all the state legal like HR and FMLA paperwork.
Oh yeah.
All this stuff. There's like 2 refrigerators. There's a sink full of dishes. All that kind of fun stuff.
Bunch of goblins on their cell phones
Yeah.
complaining
And
about their day.
I think there was like it was the start of a shift change, like a new group of people. So there was like the daily soup, the ride supervisor was like, okay, so yesterday
Yeah, pre-shift, man.
he's going through the pre-shift, right? And I'm
Yeah.
standing there, and then this lady just keeps looking over at me, and I'm obviously a guest. I'm not dressed, and she keeps looking at me, and this is my favorite.
Did you have ears on? I'm sorry. I
No,
need
this
to
like
know
no, I
what you
didn't.
look
No,
like.
I was.
for
It
this
was just.
story.
It was like a Harry Potter T-shirt,
Goblin
and a
ears.
backpack,
Yeah.
and I'm standing there, and she looks at me, and it's so good.
Cargo
She
shorts.
says, she goes, "Are you a Muggle?"
Oh wow. She full commitment.
Yeah.
Even in the break room.
I looked at her and I said, yep. She's like, can I help you find your way back to Hogwarts? Like, I'm waiting for this thing. It's going to be a minute. I am not listening to your meeting. I apologize. And she kept looking at me like, you have to go. Like, I'm not leaving. This thing's coming. I'm not leaving. So
What were you doing down there?
I can't, I don't want to say because it's not necessarily, it could be potentially embarrassing for the other people involved. But
Oh, I see.
Were your
Gotcha.
pants on or off?
my
just the one.
pants were on. Yeah.
And
No,
my
it's like I said,
pants were
Alright.
on,
Circumstance
but the
happened.
goblins, anything
And,
goes with them. Off
and
the
we
ship, I
got
guess.
directed down to this area, and then okay, so for lack of better term, we'll just say the ride
I
broke
understand.
down,
Yeah.
and we were stuck on the ride, so we had to take like the exit down off the ride, and then while they were gonna like giving us the "we're sorry about the ride breaking down" type of thing, I was in the break room just like, what's going on? But yeah, it was just so funny because the lady just kind of like side eye, look at me, side eye, look at me, and then finally like flagged her. The pre-shift manager was like, it's like, are you a muggle?
God. I love that she was fully committed to the facade, even in the break room.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's
it was
a
so
beautiful
great
thing.
because it was like we're humans, man. We've both been in a break room before. You're not going to ruin my guest experience. I'm already in your break room.
Yeah,
My guest
see
experience
it.
is pretty hosed at
Yeah.
this
I
point.
really wish that you would have been like, no, miss, I'm Gringlegord Shrangskaw. I think you've heard of me.
Have you seen my wand? And it's just your penis.
And you get arrested.
Yeah, right.
Two little goblins come in and take you. They book you.
My cuffs are for your wrists, and my cuffs are for, well, you know.
There's another Disney ride. I got
They're
stuck
very
on
small.
the Indiana Jones ride in California.
Chink.
And we were going around, and the ride, that one breaks down all the time. So
Oh, yeah,
I'm not
all
sure
the time.
exactly what's wrong with it, but it
Yeah.
breaks down all the time. So we got caught. There's a room where you go through,
Well,
and
it's not
there's
the years,
snakes.
it's the mileage.
Yeah.
Good one.
There's snakes in it, and there's this one giant snake that like comes in and goes, and then goes away,
Yeah.
and then comes and goes.
Sometimes.
Well, the ride broke down
It's
except for like that animatronic,
Uh-huh.
so it just kept like diving in at us
Like you
repeatedly,
were
and
stuck
then
right there.
we were stuck right there.
You're like,
And
oh,
then-
great.
Yeah.
All the lights come up, and it's still going.
Stuck.
And
Yeah.
then finally,
Is it a
like this little
cobra?
door opened up, and they're like, "It'll be just a minute. We're sorry." Like, whatever. And then we get down, and my favorite part too is the cast member. These are all kids, right? They're all just kids running these rides. We get down, and they're like, "So,
Making out with each other in the booth.
do you guys want to go again?" And I remember going, "Is it going to break down again, or what are we doing?" They're like,
Will I enjoy it?
and they looked around like, "I don't have an answer for that one." Like, no, yeah, we'll just fire us up, do it again.
Screw it.
Yeah.
4 hours later.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
I
broke
have
down again. One
that
more
same
time.
ride.
Let's try it.
Why not?
10 hours later.
That same ride we were on, another time it broke down. But so the gist of the ride is there's a fixed track that the car goes on, and the car is sitting on top of something that allows it to move in like 45 degrees in a 360-degree thing. So it feels like the car is going over bumps and stuff like that. Well, at some point something happened, and all of a sudden these huge strobe lights start flashing from underneath our car, and it's not moving. It's moving on the track, but it's not doing the twisty turny. So we got like the straightest ride
Oh, nice.
ever
Yeah.
through this thing, but like all the while there's this huge strobe lights going off underneath our truck, and so they pull us into like the side thing, and they're like, how was your experience? Like, get out of here.
Garbage. Yeah.
Like, and then I love it. Do you guys want to go again? Like, you know what? No, that was the best thing I've ever done. Let's. I
Yes,
just
I wanna
waited.
go again.
Yeah, I just waited 45 minutes. A bunch of sweaty people in California. You know, I'm good. Like, yeah, of course I want to go again. Yeah, just fire it up.
You've been to Disneyland enough times that you're bound to have a few interesting experiences.
Oh, I'm in those statistics for sure.
And
Yeah,
you know where to throw a penny when you're in line. So you know that once you get on that ride, it's gonna malfunction.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. If I leave
so we
this
can
right
go
here,
again.
Yeah.
So
Then you
Yeah,
push
I
this
know how
one
your
yellow
brain
button.
works. Okay.
have you ever been in line at the Indiana Jones ride when the line is actually doing the things it's supposed to do? Because I don't know
Yeah. Twice.
because the cool thing about Indiana Jones, the way that they
were
developed
you
that
supposed
ride
to
was like so if the line is super duper long, there's like an outdoor area. It kind of looks like a jungle, and there's like props and cool stuff to look at. But inside, once you get inside of like the temple,
Once you enter the temple,
there's an area where spikes come out of the walls while you're waiting in line, and just little things like that that are kind of cool.
yeah. There's that one, which I've never seen that one work.
Right.
There's another one where it literally says, "Don't pull these." It's got the crushing floor with the bamboo, and
Yeah.
it says like, "Don't move these poles."
Oh yeah.
And if you shake them, they make a thing. You hear like the
And it-
grumble, grumble, grumble.
Yeah.
And then there's little things on the floor. Bye, Eric. Where
He's gone.
Sorry,
He's
I'm
done.
picturing something this whole time. Just keep going.
Right.
Don't
they've
worry,
got
I'm not
they've
even
got
here.
the where it says like, "Don't step on the." It's like a jaguar head in the ground.
Oh,
and when you
yeah.
step on it, it's another thing. But then they've got there's a rope that's hanging down a well that says, "Do not pull," which
Yeah.
they're like, "Yeah, pull it." And you're just when you when you yank on it,
Yeah.
there's a voice that comes out that
That's what I've
sounds
been
like a
thinking
guy
about the whole
falling
time.
down.
No, don't pull on it. Yeah.
Yeah, the rope one is the one I've seen work the most.
That's the only one that ever works. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that maybe it might be
It's just a traffic
might have
issue.
been a liability thing too, because the only time that the other parts of the line ever worked were when I was there the very first time when it first opened in probably like 1994 or whatever. And I bet it's because when they're in line and you got moving like ceilings and things like that, it probably just doesn't work for people getting their hands stuck in there and just things like that.
Yeah, people
you
being
know.
dumb.
Yeah.
So my question
Yeah. What's
Yes,
your
hit
question?
me.
is that if people use the line correctly while they're moving through, what I'm just imagining is you, Matt, just exposing yourself. Like when you see the spikes,
Uh-huh.
unzip, and then when you get to this thing, pull it out, and then when you get to this thing, don't tug on it. And they're like, "Okay, sir, you gotta go."
Like, sir, we should have arrested you the first time you pulled
Well,
it
that's
out.
what we're
But
supposed to do when we're in the line.
yeah. I've been here for like 70 minutes. You said this is 60 minutes and 70. What was I supposed to do? But that Indiana Jones line is like the one that is where they kind of started to do that for the first time ever, where you go in and you're not just standing in line,
Because
like-
80s kids were too bored. We were
Well, no,
all
it's not
used
even
to
that.
our
Exactly.
sugar and crap, and all the 70s kids are like, "What's wrong with these 80s kids?
Oh, what's wrong
They're
with
on
these kids?
crack."
Yeah, it's
We're
like,
like,
the thing-
literally they're on nerds and pixie sticks. They're
We were crazy.
pterodactyling it all day long.
Wow. But so the thing that's always pulled the Disney parks apart from other amusement parks is that
Pulled them apart.
being in line is part of the experience of the ride. So while you are going through this like back and forth catacall thing,
You don't have to hate that part.
you're right. It's not like
the
it's not like
experience.
like Elitch's or even at some extension California Adventure has that where it's basically just this is a line, tough, deal with it.
Yeah.
The
like
Disney stuff
Universal.
is always like, oh
There will
well,
be a cute girl ahead of you. You'll see her every
80
few
times.
times.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
every
Right,
20
yeah.
minutes, you'll see
Yeah.
her again.
But they've got this, and then and then Indiana Jones started introducing like interactive
Mm-hmm.
components to the line. I think it's in Orlando where when you go on Snow White's minecart ride, there's a point where the line kind of like makes a little Tetris T back on itself. And in that little T section, they put in a game, which is just basically, it's like a flowing river of gems. And in each little screen, there's like a red car or a blue car, and you're trying to like swipe the gems into there's like no score, no points or whatever. It's just some little thing. You're like, oh, collect the red gems. And then it does it. I think I want to say in Epcot Center, in one of the rides down there, they do have a competitive like ship construction. I know there's the one at the end of the ride. of Spaceship Mars. But there's another one where you're walking through, and right, you're basically collecting materials, like you're preparing it. It might be Space Mountain actually, where that's in Disney, but the Magic Kingdom, where you're like
Luigi
collecting
Mountain.
supplies because Space Mountain is like the story of that becomes you're delivering supplies to the space station or whatever. So like the line is you like adding oxygen tanks and stuff like that as you go through.
The one,
But yeah, no, it's super good.
Is boring.
Where it failed a little bit is that the one at the end of the Mars ride in Epcot Center is fantastic, but it's like a cooperative thing. So there's two teams, there's two people at the front that are distributing product, and then there's people in the back that are solving these little mini puzzles, like fill up the oxygen canisters, and then when you do that, it sends it to the front, and then they supply it to the ship, and you're basically trying to race to Mars, but the ship's breaking down. That's a great idea. It's a fantastic idea, except the fact that as soon as everyone gets off the ride, they're like, gotta go. There's somewhere to be. There's a line. I'm not going to, so it falls apart. But I don't know.
Eric, have you been to any of the Disney parks? No.
I've never Disney.
Goodness. Let's get you there. You'd love it. You'd be like a kid in Disneyland.
Well, yeah. You'd be like any human being ever in Disneyland.
Right. Oh, you love it. It's great. It's super fun. It really does bring out the kid in you in a really, really, really fun way. You seem skeptical.
I'm not against it.
Yeah.
You have to try really hard to not have fun there.
Yeah.
Too late.
And the thing is, just think how fun it would be. Every ride we go on, I will expose myself at least once.
That's true. I'll just be in there for the line.
Yeah.
And then I'll jump out before the ride.
Sir, don't you want to go on Star Tours? Nope. See my friend's penis.
He's already been arrested and can no longer come back to the States.
Somehow they let
I've
him
seen everything I need to see.
get in line again. I don't know how this works.
Yeah. But the other thing that is very crucial to this is I would remember when I would go to Elitch's with you guys.
Yeah, sure.
Ride number 1
Oh, that's
would
right. I
make
forgot.
me feel like crap.
Yeah.
If I did ride number 2, I threw up, and my whole day was garbage.
So that's the
And
thing.
that hasn't changed.
So Disneyland, though, has enough rides that you could enjoy yourself riding a few things that, are for little weenies.
Or
and
low
then
stakes.
Yeah. And then you could just you wouldn't have to go on the crazy ones. You could skip those. But I think that you can still you could still hang out and walk through the things, because a lot of them are worth like walking through and seeing the spectacle of the ride before you and then not go on it. But yeah, the roller coasters, Disneyland isn't really a roller coaster place anyways. Most of the rides are pretty tame.
Six Flags.
What we would do is we would go to Disneyland. We would go to Pirates of the Caribbean first. We'd see how you felt about that ride, and that'll gauge the rest of the rides. Because there's a couple of drops. There's a couple of areas.
Okay, Eric, I'm picturing that we've done this and we're there. And you guys are like, okay, Eric, how are you doing? And I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to say I'm great.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
believe it or not,
that's a really good gauge. You're right, because there's the Haunted Mansion, which is a controlled it's a controlled experience, but it does move.
Yeah.
It's a Small World, which is a flat surface. The train, shockingly, is a decent ride. There's a ride I know that you would appreciate. It's called what is it, like the storybook something. But you sit on a boat, and there's a tour guide giving stupid little talkie stuff, but you go through miniatures of famous Disney places. So there's like an Agrabah. No. It's like literal, like architectural miniatures.
That in Disney World?
I would love that.
In Disneyland in California.
What?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Andrew and I stumbled across it one time on accident.
Never seen this.
Because it's
Because
all
only
like
I would like it.
Yeah.
So they tucked it away.
Well, no, but what I meant by
your
it though is
story.
that like
They're waiting for you.
it's something where like a
Zero
kid
is
could be like, oh, there's Ariel's home, and there's Beauty and the Beast castle, but like for me, like the architectural nerdiness of creating the miniatures is like, this is really good. Like there's a lot of really good
Well,
stuff.
it's like the Peter Pan ride is like that.
Peter Pan ride is, after the update, is super good too. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be worth it. Let's do it. Disneyland.
Okay.
Let's go. right
Yeah,
now.
wait a couple
Let's
years.
go
right
when
now.
a Star Wars thing can happen, and we'll just pack it all up.
You wanna go
I
on
want
May
to
4th?
assume it's gonna be
Yeah, right.
no, God, no. No. What's the opposite of May 4th?
Yeah.
I want to go
September
when's a good
4th.
time.
Yeah.
November 4th?
Mid-February.
hmm That's
Like, what's
actually
the
March is
deadest
a
time?
great time to go. Like February, March is the best time to go to Disneyland
That's what I would assume.
because like it's after the holidays, so everyone's broke, but it's before spring break when everyone's like, woo. So
Everyone's just going, it's going to be 2 more months of sucky.
yeah,
3 more
it
months of
sucks
sucky.
a little bit
Who
because
knows?
like there's certain rides like Splash Mountain and California Adventure. There's a water ride. Some of those things aren't super fun to ride because even like March in Southern California can be
It does get
like in the
cold, yeah,
50s,
yeah.
so it can be a little chilly willy. But
ideal.
but it's fun. Yeah, yeah,
Well, I will wear my Han Solo Hoth jacket.
yeah.
I'll buy for
Perfect,
it.
perfect.
From anovos.com for $1,200. That's what they would charge.
Wow, sounds cool.
Go to Anovos and see what the cost of replica uniforms is.
Novos.
and you'll crap it.
Yeah.
Safeway.
Well, I've seen. I'll have to leave immediately and poop at Safeway. Well, you know,
This one calls for Safeway. Okay.
I've looked at some of the places that do armor, that do stormtrooper armor,
Sure.
and things like that.
Well,
and yeah, those are like
that's-
$600 or more. you know.
No, yeah.
What's it
Anovos
called?
will be like,
Anovos?
$3 grand. $3 grand.
What?
I'd say $3 grand. Yeah. So, ANOVOS.
Oh, gotcha.
Anovos. They do
Anovos.
Star Trek, Star Wars, Ghostbuster Proton packs, like a Spangler pack for, I don't know, $7,600. Who knows what it
What?
is? It's
Why
not
are they
that
so
much, but-
expensive?
Because they strive for film accuracy. They've studied everything and torn it apart, and so blah blah blah. It's great. And
The
I
Star
think they'd do a
Wars,
lot
wow.
better if they offered a bastard version of
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, give
They
us a
said,
cheap
you
one.
want the premium? Here it is for $2 grand. You
Wow.
want the, it's
Yeah.
pretty decent. Here it is for $300.
So yeah, like
They're
a
crazy price.
Admiral Kirk uniform, $1,800.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
The Monster Maroon from the original Star Trek movies.
Yeah,
That uniform that I love. It's great.
I love that.
British looking. Yeah. $1,800.
Yeah, I think that those are the best,
2,000.
hands down, the best. Don't you
Yep.
think of all of
Oh,
the?
agreed for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all
we
the
could
Star-
try and make that a fight me, but I don't know if Nico cares about that one.
yeah. I could go for it. Oh, nice.
Fight me on the Star Wars? Or
On Star Trek uniforms, the best.
Oh,
Really good stuff.
I'm not sure I have enough to weigh in on
Yeah.
a fight me for that.
I'm Discovery or nothing.
$1,800
I'm Picard
though.
season 2 or nothing.
That's crazy. They got some Battlestar Galactica stuff.
Like
Battlestar
they'll have a
Galactica
sale, and you're just like I look at the sales prices because I've ordered the teeniest of things.
Yeah,
I got fabric to make my own red uniform
nice.
because I'm like I can never ever in a million years justify spending that much money for a uniform I would really want. So yeah.
So
Anyways.
crazy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're like, oh, you want a Darth Vader cape? $700 for just the cape.
Wow. They got like they show you how the jackets will look in different lighting conditions. That's interesting.
Oh,
Like,
the Monster Maroon. Or which
Basically, I was looking at the Battlestar Galactica jacket, and they're like, it may appear different in different lighting conditions.
one? Well, it's like yes.
Which I'm guessing
Well,
because people probably freak out because they're like, I thought it was supposed to be blue, but it looks gray. And it's like, well, but yeah, that's what happens because when, white balance is different or whatever,
Right,
type of
exactly.
thing.
Like those Ghostbuster jumpsuits. You're like, are they khaki? Are they gray? What are
right.
they? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, they got the Star Trek Discovery ones are pretty cool. Wow. $1,300. Get out of town.
Seven
So let's look at the
bazillion. How much
proton.
are the proton packs?
So
The Spangler Legacy.
we got the Spangler Legacy, $4,295. $4,295.
$4,200.
Wow. So why
Or
is that different than the other one?
where fan made stuff that's probably just as accurate with sound, lights, and everything are
Yeah.
like 1,200, and I go 1,200,
Right.
and these guys are like, hold my beer.
Yeah, right.
Way more.
$60,000, and you're like,
That's so
you're going out of the
crazy.
business. How have you survived?
Apparently they're doing
There are
okay.
a lot
huh?
of rich geeks out there, because geeks,
They want
nerds
it
pay attention in
legit.
school, and they get good jobs, and they are ready to spend money on all this stuff. I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Speaking of spending money,
Yeah. What do
so
you?
Oh.
I saw that the Officer Winslow, that's not his name, the character show up
those
from.
are real.
Yeah, those are
Couldn't
real.
tell
I
if
thought
that
they
was
were
someone,
fake.
Like, fake
That's pretty
them.
great.
Yeah.
Those are pretty great.
Yeah.
So we're talking
so
about
it was,
Funkos here, folks. Funkos.
Die Hard.
Die Hard Funkos. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
So great.
so it came through as a recommendation, and I think it was just the Hans Gruber. He's holding like a gun and a phone. I'm like, man, and then I click on just the title to get the whole collection, and it's like, oh man, look at the officer. He's holding, like, that's hilarious that they gave him a bunch of Twinkies. It's like, oh wait a minute, oh, they've got the guy sitting on the chair, and it says, now I have a gun. Ho ho! Like, oh, that's so good. And then they've got a McLean with a radio and a gun. And I was like, and somebody's like, hey, buy all 4 of these for X. Like, yep.
Yes, please.
And then it's like, hey, because you like this, you might like this. And it had the stupidest words, limited edition exclusive. Like, move that to the cart and crap. But so in my own defense of this,
How many Britney Spears Funkos did you just order off of her documentary?
0.
Original
No.
Britney and current Britney.
But where it got me is
you want bald
because
Britney.
we were talking about how one of the main reasons that Die Hard is such a great film is because there's an attention to the detail, and it's the fact that he's not wearing shoes, which they explain brilliantly, but then the fact that his tank top just progressively gets worse and worse and worse. The 2 John McClane Funkos, the first one starts out no shoes, white tank top, just a couple of scratches. The exclusive one is with like a dark, dank brown one. He's in a running motion, and his feet are cut up and bleeding.
Nice.
Like,
That's great. Did you get that on Amazon?
Is this
Yeah.
the first blood they've introduced into Funkos? Have they had blood before?
I
I mean,
think people
aside from maybe like a vampire has a little.
this
tiny-
is probably the first like actual like the result of
Damaged.
violence blood. Yeah.
Super detailed. Well, because you've also got the guy, the ho ho ho, I have a machine gun guy, right? You got that one as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
and his
Yeah.
penis is out.
That's the first Funko penis.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe there's a zombie one.
yeah. That's
Zombie- we've
great.
seen
I love
zombie
it.
Wang.
That's exciting. I'm gonna go. I need to go pee on top of my own
I
pee.
need to go.
Yeah, you want to go first?
Yeah, stack it up.
Yeah,
Well, we can go at the same.
Oh, no, I could leave
we've
Nico
done
all
this
alone.
before. We've left
Yeah,
Nico. I'm sorry.
it's-
You go ahead.
Okay, I'll be right back.
You announced it.
I'm
first.
survived.
I
I
went
just
first.
got a ping that I got a work thing that happened. So
Do you need to do a?
I am
correspond?
secretly working on it right now. It's an interesting issue, but I'm
Uh-oh.
fixing it.
A fixable, easy, fast thing.
Oh yeah. It's there's just something odd happening with one of our daily processes that occurs without going into detail. And I just have to go through some stuff to like restart it.
Do you find how often do you find just like weird glitchy things happening that you're like like gremlins per se?
A lot more than I would like or that I would understand, because there's certain things like I don't publish massive changes on a daily basis,
Your small incremental things.
or not at all. So it's like it works today, awesome, and then on Tuesday, like, oh, it's all not working. Like, I don't believe you. I mean, I believe you, but I don't believe you because I literally did not touch that part. So
That thing that was working all of a sudden.
so there's stuff like that where we had so an example I can talk about is math, right? If you take
You lost.
if you're trying yeah, right. So let's say you're trying to figure out what your average let's say you every morning you spend $5 buying coffee. But sometimes it's $5, sometimes it's $2, sometimes it's $7. If you take it up to the end of the month and you say, okay, I spent $150 this month, and you divide that by 30, it's like, okay, that's $5 a day. Now imagine if you spent $150 on coffee, but then somebody gave you $180. So now your net out is actually minus. So it's still minus 30 over 30. So it's $1, right?
Yeah.
But if you take a negative number and you divide that by a negative number, that becomes a positive number, which makes things look super weird when you try to figure out like a spending trend. So it's stuff like that, which you never would have thought to account for.
Like refunds, credits, weird things within a
Yeah,
daily
stuff like that. Or we had our properties were closed. So when you try to figure out what expenses per day is, do you figure out expenses per calendar day, or is it expenses per day open?
Right.
You know, so and then it's like, well, what if you're closed the entire month? Now you're dividing by 0 if you're going over days open. So it causes stuff like that. So there's stuff like that, which is genuine, or even leap year. You try to figure out what, if you want to compare this year to last year,
Wow,
you're like, well,
an extra day.
Yeah, that was a whole extra day. So it's like, do you just have an extra day and then your daily numbers don't like average out, or do you go straight, like, let me see today's 5th versus last year's 5th, or is it today's 5th versus last year's 5th plus 1/28th of the value created on the 29th added to it? And it's like,
we lost our listener.
Here's the weird
just kidding.
thought that I just had, was that all the fears of Y2K happened, essentially.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we're just living in this nightmare of nuance and minutia, these little things, all this coding crashing into each other. Yeah. And then the human element thrown into it as well, and it's just chaos. And your codes go, I work until I can't work, and I'm not a problem solver until there's coded AI, right? Is that where we're going to have to get to, where like it's an AI that can go, why is this day weird? What day of the year is it? Is it an anomaly for this reason?
You get, well, that wouldn't be AI. There's just logical programming that can handle that kind of stuff.
Well, it's like, to a certain extent, it would be AI in a way, because it would sort of like, I guess, well, yeah, no, you're right. It's just more of like, it's just a program that is just able to access a database and then spew out that information to us. So yeah, you're right.
Right.
But I think there could be learning machines though that could see trends and act on said trends, or at least offer suggestions on how to act on said trends, business wise and stuff like that. So
absolutely. Yeah. And that's how machine learning works, is it takes historical trends and then the result of historical trends, and it says, all right, so was this a good result or a bad result? Yeah. Okay, so if I ever see this again, do you want the good result or do you want the bad result? What are we looking at here?
Because that's essentially what my my main investment account is. It's in a robo advisor, which is basically just an AI design that invests my money based upon certain trends in the market and yada yada yada. So all I have to do is show up my penis and it'll shift my money wherever I tell it.
And there it goes.
Yeah. It's basically just, when I say investment account, I just mean Indiana Jones ride. That's all I'm just on that ride. 24/7.
But no, but still, I guess, where's AI versus still what someone coded into it to think, right? Like when you talk about these things that the program is doing and how it's thinking, is that still all coded into it? Or has it gone, wait, this didn't work. Let me look around and keep playing. Oh, I found a new way of looking at things on my own. Or does it all have to be coded still? Does it still take a human going, oh, you need to think about it this way. Type. Now you're thinking.
Well, yes and no. Think about like, well, I hate to call it like training a dog a trick, but like how you progressively reward it for positive and you remove reward for negative. The dog will kind of figure out like, hey, wait a minute, when I open the fridge in the morning and get my owner a beer, I get a treat. Now, if I do that at night, let me try that. Like in the morning, I get a treat, but it's nighttime now. Let me try that now. And then if it gets a treat, so it kind of like it can parlay some decision making into a response.
It can analyze, right? So it's still going. I've been told, I've been trained, I've been coded to go get a beer and bring it to my master.
Mm-hmm.
And then so it's just going, well, let me just run that under a ton of scenarios because I've been taught that.
Yeah.
Now I can analyze. I have data.
And it's the same kind of thing of where like
I can show my owner what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Right, or even how an animal will
right.
it will slowly learn like, hey, at night, if it's 2 a.m., well, this doesn't work for cats, but with a dog, like if it's 2 a.m., the owner probably doesn't want to play with a squeaky ball right now.
Right.
That's
now you
not
were
what
not
Jeff thinks.
Well, right, but you were like you did not actively teach that behavior. You may have like subconsciously been like, get over, shut up, you'll yell at it, but you weren't actively like my what I'm doing right now is training.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that kind of thing too, where it can slowly start to piece together. It can make small decisions as well about, hey, this works, but what about that? Oh, nope, that I didn't get a positive response there. But what if I got a positive response doing this? I'm just gonna add this to my list of things I do.
Okay.
So it's like so we did it with mechanical machine learning of trying to. We gave it a bunch of sensors on a machine, and we said, okay, here are the thresholds, and we didn't tell it, but it figured out if this alarm goes off but not this one, I'm good. If this alarm goes off but not this one, I'm good. But if these are both going off, that's bad. We didn't teach it that. It figured that out.
Okay.
So there's some of that kind of like occurs, and I make that sound like it figured it out. It's all based on like a weighted reward system where it's like it basically was taking a bunch of responses, and if that response ever hit a positive threshold of like 54%, it was like, oh, maybe I'll circle back to that. Mm-hmm. And then it does require some user input of being like, hey, good catch, that's a good find, and then that 54% jumps up to 75%. And then it just keeps, and then it's just like, I'm just gonna keep looking for that then, because I know that's good. So I'm just gonna keep doing the good thing.
Okay. Yeah. Right. That's that partnership.
Yeah, but we didn't tell it to go look at these two things simultaneously.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
Which is a little scary.
Right, because that's the very next step is we're racing towards that, and that's the whole all these movies, and you're like, okay, these movies, that's funny, silly, but then you go, well, why wouldn't it do that thing that's in those movies?
Well, yeah, right.
If it made the step where it went, well, my job, like all these movies are, I'm a defense program. I need to make sure that we are safe. What's the biggest threat? Oh, humans. Okay. Copy.
I wonder if I don't know if it'll ever get to that point. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic about it, but you know,
I don't worry about it.
No. If it happens, it won't happen
anytime soon. If a nuke blows, it's just gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I remember what I was gonna bring up. Do you mind if we shift for a second?
Yeah, sure.
Should I pee first?
Yeah, you pee first.
Okay.
You pee first because I want to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
I want to hear it.
I need to pee.
Yeah, well, you just go over and pee.
Gross.
Yeah. Didn't you sound good in my ears?
Yeah.
Yeah, you gross. But that is interesting though. But the what we were talking about earlier too. This isn't what I was going to bring up, but we were talking earlier about the whole regularity of the upcoming YouTube videos that I have planned. I definitely want to get your input on where you're feeling like it's hitting and or missing, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll circle back around to that at some point in time, for sure. Because, I want to hit it with plenty of regularity. I want to make sure that I'm being consistent, but I want to make sure that the quality is still there. Because my whole thing was like early on, I really wanted to do just really hit quality over quantity. But now I'm not necessarily saying that now I want to do quantity over quality. I just am not going to try to make every video so epic, because I want to try to make, be extremely regular on my posts and such. So I'll be curious to see how it all starts to play out.
Okay.
I have a lens with me. The conversation just.
I think you. I think you stepped away when I exposed. I just got a ping from work. They're like, "Hey, this thing is broken." Like, oh crap. So I'm fixing a work thing.
You're fixing a thing from home. I like it.
Yeah.
You haven't even gone back to work though. I mean, back to the office, have you?
We can. It's just been a situation where I have not been going.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those, like, I don't necessarily need to all the time, which is nice.
Okay, why is the Justice League, the new Justice League, is it going to be in 4:3 in like TV aspect ratio? Because the trailers are all in 4:3.
Like, why is this 4:3? Yeah.
And I looked it up and I saw a couple of Reddit threads and a couple of things where apparently like they shot it, like some of it, not all of it, but some of it in IMAX. And these guys were saying that the IMAX aspect ratio is 4:3. And I was like, I don't think that's true, but maybe it is. I don't know. But so that's why Zack Snyder wants to put it in 4:3, because it's supposed to be in IMAX. I'm like, but
it's not on IMAX.
but but TVs aren't IMAX. So
seeing it on IMAX, and I guess that was his hope and dream, but
it's just weird. And then one other person said something about how he wanted to do 4:3 as homage to like TV, like the
homage to Lois and Clark.
Yeah, like Justice League, like the ones from way back when. So I'm just like, I don't get it. Is it really a thing? I mean, I hate it because it just doesn't make sense. Like, we don't watch anything in 4:3. Like, I don't get.
Yeah, not even TV today is 4:3.
Yeah, why you're chopping off the sides just for fun, just to prove a point. I don't get it. So if it is in 4:3, I'm not watching it.
Is he
just
also thinking like, well, we're in the era of the phone. Everyone's watching on their phone, so whatever.
Maybe.
Let's just meet them halfway.
Yes, I don't know. But either way, so you've heard it here first, folks. If the movie is in 4:3, I am not watching it.
The 4-hour miniseries? How is it even packaged?
Apparently, it's going to be one big long string out.
One 7-hour.
One big long thing. Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know, but I
think of all those spikes.
I will absolutely refuse if it's not in widescreen, because I'm not going to sit there and watch 62 inches of not 62 inches. If you know what I mean.
Now, will I get as far? Maybe, I think, Matt, you mentioned this too. I tried to watch that Harley Quinn sequel.
Oh, yeah, Birds of Prey.
And I got like 30 seconds into her and Ewan McGregor talking at the very beginning. And I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah. That's all it took?
That's
30 seconds of that?
I can't.
Oh, that's great.
Like, just she busts guys' knees right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's just, I'm Harley Quinn.
It's a lot.
Whatever she's doing.
Yeah.
And then he comes up and he's being hammy. Yeah, I was like,
yeah,
I can't.
Yeah, the whole movie is all of that. It's all a lot. And then just wait till Rosie Perez shows up. You didn't get to that part, did you? And then
of course I didn't. I got 3 minutes in.
Yeah. Because then when she comes in, now it's even more like, well, I'm a good cop. Why you get so mad at me? And you're just like, what is happening with everybody's accents? I don't get it. There's like good actors gone bad. It's just that's the whole movie, and then it's
The emancipation of all of your careers. That's what they should have called it.
totally yeah, because somehow Harley Quinn suddenly knows all forms of Krav Maga and
Of course she does.
and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and every form of everything, and you're just like, what is going on? Yeah, Ewan's a lot in that movie, like a lot. Like there's a scene way further into the movie where he's having like a serious moment in his club, and then this lady laughs, and he like walks over to her because he's mad that she laughed, and he just like makes her friend cut her dress off, and then he makes her dance on a table, and you're like, what is happening?
Like in her bra and panties. being
Sort
forced to
of, but
dance.
not really. Like the guy kind of cuts it, and then she's like covers up, and she's like dancing. It's like, okay, so you're trying to
What's
make
the
it
song?
feel. There wasn't one, I don't think. I think he was just like, you're
missed
having fun, you
opportunity.
should dance. Yeah, it was weird. It was almost like we always say. He was like, "Do you guys want a good script, or do you want Ewan McGregor?"
I mean, you guys can have either. I don't really care.
You can have Ewan
you can't have
McGregor, or
both.
you can have a real movie. Which one do you want?
I wonder how many Ewan McGregor movies we could apply that logic to.
Yeah. Well, not a lot. I mean, he's usually in good movies. This one was just
And he also
Real
doesn't
bad.
bang them out
yeah.
10 a year either.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It had its moments. It had a few moments here and there. But there's a whole bit. I'll just ruin the movie further for you, where Harley Quinn goes into a police station to break somebody out. And she just walks in, and the way that the movie is shot is just, I mean, some of it's really good, but in terms of just like the pacing of the editing, it's as if she walked into a police department where there were no police. There was just like every cop was just kind of like, what's that person there with a gun doing here?
Hey,
Well, that's
are
kind
you
of
a
interesting.
muggle?
Yeah. And then she shoots him with like a gas, like a tear gas canister gun is what she's running around with. But, you know, no one ever pulls their gun. No one has any sort of sense of urgency. There's smoke bombs going off, but she just like walks into the break room and everyone's just like donut in their mouth. And you're just like, I don't get what is happening in this movie.
There's no way this could happen in real life, especially at the Capitol.
Yeah.
That could never happen.
Especially at Gotham Capitol. Yeah. Yeah.
That
was rough.
I was gonna make that comment so much earlier in tonight, where you were like, "There's no way a group of rebels runs in on the Empire." I was like, actually, it took like 2 Pinterest boards and some really bad T-shirts, and we made quite a mess of our capital.
Yeah.
Well, when a society is presumed peaceful. But anyways, yeah, don't bother getting in there.
Society.
And don't even like, then once it gets to the Huntress part, where you're just like, you may as well cast a cardboard box for this role, because there is nothing happening here. It was just real weird. Like the whole movie is real weird. And I think that sometimes just things start at the top, you know, I don't know the directing or what is going on with that movie. It's just so disjointed.
Well, it's classic DC, where every single project is completely its own thing, and they
Yeah.
don't know what the hell. They're building every movie from scratch.
Yeah, pretty
Where
much.
it's like Marvel's like, we're a well-tuned machine. We've run through these algorithms. We
Yeah.
know what kind of works. We know the formula of this much of this, that much of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's all baked in, and we know how to rock you, and we're going to plan out the hell out of this movie. We're going to know what it means.
Yeah.
And then we're going to make it.
Kind of like Deadpool.
A great example of that, and it just hit me because I started going back through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The end of Avengers Endgame, where Steve Rogers is dancing with Agent Carter, goes all the way back to the original Captain America, where the whole point was like, don't go. He's like, I have to. She's like, we were supposed to dance. He's like, save a dance for me.
Yeah.
5
Oh.
years.
You didn't notice that?
5 years for that payoff.
Yeah.
And DC can't figure out when
One
Aquaman knows
movie.
Mira.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Superman doesn't know if he's an a-hole or not, and meanwhile, WandaVision is like deconstructing television history
Yeah.
while weaving
Right.
together its own fun story, and you're going, yas, queen.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're over there like, I think we've got Batman figured out this time.
If Batman takes 75.
Finally. And Ben will fix it. Yeah,
He's
that is
got
very
his
interesting.
partner Blue Jay. Like, no, damn it, start over.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if the quality of Batman movies can be figured out by looking at the Batmobile. Like when you look at the Batmobile, that's how you can tell if it's good or not.
Right.
Like that alone will tell you.
Yeah.
Right. Like
good point.
the classic show had its own flair, but you're like, that's a fun, cool car.
Yeah.
Right.
The Tim Burton one, it told you the type of style it is. It's a little silly, but it's retro.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
fun and kind of gothic and cool. And you go, that's what that movie is. The Dark Knight is this bitchin' Lamborghini Hummer thing, and you're like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And it tells this gritty, tough, completely different take on Batman that works. You get to the Ben Affleck Batmans, and nothing on Ben Affleck, but it's like this bastardization of every Batmobile before it all clumped
Right.
together, and you're like,
Mhm.
yeah, you guys don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't know who this Batman is, because if you haven't figured out what kind of car he's driving, you don't know what
Right.
you're doing.
Well,
Yeah.
I think we talked about this.
Good
We talked about
point.
the Justice League too, but there's a point where he apparently just has this giant garage under a lake, and then he's building a troop carrier for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, wait, so you're a billionaire playboy philanthropist aeronautical engineer now? Like what? and when it debuts, it's not even like bat shaped. it's just black metal in like a weird hexagon shape with wings.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, you guys really phoned that one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, take it to the Batwing, and that's where, from what that Tumblr Batmobile was to that thing that was unique, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen that thing before. But yeah, you're kind of like, okay.
Well, you're
Yeah.
a big fan of the Dark Knight Batmobile, right, Eric?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's you can't
Eric,
see
you
it,
said-
but it's right there.
Oh, you're going over
Oh,
there.
you've got it too.
I've got a
but
Tumblr too.
I
yeah.
do like it. I think
Yeah.
the Tumblr's awesome. But yeah, you've got that. The Tim Burton one was my childhood. God,
Yeah.
I love that one.
It's a good one.
Oh, it was bitching.
Yeah.
It just had style.
Oh, you
and
can't
it was
see it. It's-
clean.
That's right.
Way over there.
And I think that's the other thing I
Super
have to
clean.
speak-
Yeah.
Like it knew it was its own idea. Where again, like when you see design where they're like, oh, this design worked, and also that one too, but we gotta like jack it up. It's the sequel of that design,
Mm-hmm.
and they just put more and more crap on it. Like that Justice
Yeah.
League Batmobile, it's like 7 different ideas all mushed together.
Yeah. Well, I think
whole
the
movie's
Dark
That's
the
what
Dark
movie
Knight
is
one.
too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's my
The-
whole thesis.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight does a great job in one single line of the movie, or not one single line, but a small little discussion between Batman and the guy Lucius Fox. He says, it basically comes down to, oh, you want to be able to turn your head. Like, yeah, man,
Mhm.
duh. Like you are like, I love the cowl. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
but it's a really good point. Like,
But you
oh,
can't
you want to
do
be able to turn
anything.
your head.
Yeah.
So it's like that line is the epitome of the Dark Knight series of what they were trying to accomplish. They're like,
Right.
we can make you tough, but it's gonna have a practical edge on it.
What was
so
the
we're
first
gonna,
time? Yeah.
we're
There was a
gonna roll
tactical
it into
Batman.
practical,
Mhm.
right? And but also be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
like the debut of the Tumblr is, yeah, it's like,
Just
all right,
like,
this
oh,
is
I've
different
got
now.
this weird thing that's made to build bridges and it jumps over crevasses and carries a line. Is that what the job of it was?
Yeah, right
Um,
to pull a bridge across. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess before drones were created. But anyways, yeah. Yeah. And then he goes, "Does it come in black?" And you're like, "Yeah."
Nom, 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 nom,
Because
nom,
they've got
nom,
that,
nom.
yeah, they've got that thing in the camo driving around inside that space, and you have the acoustics bouncing off the walls, like it sounds like a parking lot, and that thing's
Yeah.
like, it's a Lamborghini tank, and you're like, yeah.
Right.
I might have to
Sorry,
revisit
liked,
that.
I liked that.
Oh, it's
thing.
great, and it's really good too because you want to talk about something feeling
And
like
the
a real
Batmobile
practical application of like this is a real
Jesus.
thing.
out of that thing, and it's the Batmobile, and you're like, oh. Yeah, holy shit. I forgot how much I love those little moments.
I didn't have that reaction. I'm gonna have to go revisit that movie and feel those feels.
Oh,
and then
for
it's
sure.
jumping from building to building on top of shit, and it's just like crushing, and like bricks are getting pulverized. And you're
Oh,
like, yes, it's heavy and
Yeah.
strong and destroying. It's gonna murder people.
Yeah, the sound
But they
design on
don't
that thing
go
is
murder
killer.
people.
No,
Yeah.
just murdered your soul in a good way.
And then he flips a semi in that one. He goes, that's great. Chop 40 minutes off of this movie, and it's a pure masterpiece for
Yeah,
us.
stop now. Credits.
So so we're talking about Batman Begins.
So there's
Is
that's
that where we
leading
see
him.
the Batmobile
So
for the first time?
Batman Begins is, well, you don't see the neck thing, but you get his tech. It's like, oh, this is a tactical Batman
Right.
using bulletproof Kevlar, all this crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there you get the tumbler,
Okay.
and then in the Dark Knight,
Yes.
it gets wrecked, I think. Like the
Yeah,
Joker
oh, yeah, the
wrecks it when
Joker
he's-
wrecks it,
Yeah,
yeah.
like I don't know, probably a overpass falls on him or something,
Mm-hmm.
and so he just like pushes a button, squeaks down into motorcycle position, and just ploops out the front.
Right.
You're like, oh, and then he's got that motorcycle that's just looks completely unrideable.
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous. You go, there's no way, and even the stunt people were like, the hell am I supposed to ride this thing?
You can tell when you watch if you really watch that stuff, it looks like it was going 5 miles an hour, and they had to speed up the footage because there's no way that thing turns.
Well, they
with
just
wheels that wide.
Just send the camera at it real fast because it's going
Yeah.
about
Right.
20, and so yeah, they're just like, shoo, like get it.
Low angle and
Yeah.
come at it quick.
Yeah,
And,
for sure.
Yeah.
But it
There's
does the
some-
thing. Do the wheels turn? Because there's a moment where he like
Yeah.
slides.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
The
they
wheels do
rotate
something?
inside. Yeah, he goes and
Yeah.
he has to turn around. And he goes perpendicular, and the wheels like and
Yeah,
then he rolls up on the side of a building and comes back.
that's right.
Yeah.
It's so over the top. But that's like all that is right where the semi gets flipped. And
Good
you're just
stuff,
like,
though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, like, what's that Legolas? I'm doing a quick side thing here, but another thing where I watched and I go, I don't know how that actually happened, is in the Two Towers when they're out shooting wargs. The first time you see the stupid warg things,
Yeah.
and there's a slow mo where like Legolas is ahead of everyone and he's just firing off murder arrow,
Yeah.
slow mo, and then his horse is coming behind him and he just goes, Merp, and he puts his hand up on the
Right.
stirrup or on something on the front harness and just like does a weird flip onto the horse. And when you really look, you're like,
Oh,
I
right,
think his
right, right.
arm got broken off.
Yeah, yeah,
That really
yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
I
they
don't know
elbows
which way he
don't bend
turned.
that direction.
It's super
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's in slow mo, and you're like, that looks awesome, but I don't know what's happening. I
Those
don't know
movies
what-
have a few of those moments where you're like, I think he just
Especially
broke
with
his
the-
neck, but all right.
He
I'll see.
dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the Hobbit, where Legolas is jumping like freaking a video game guy off
Yeah.
rocks that are falling in free fall. Anyways,
I've never watched The Hobbit.
Oh, don't watch any
Yeah,
of them. It's
I won't.
torture.
Yeah, I got about
Best
4
movies about
seconds
Middle
into
Earth.
the
Fight me.
yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That's some fight me business.
Oh
right
yeah.
there.
I got a
When
few
Peter
seconds
Jackson
in.
became George Lucas.
Yeah. Definitely. I don't know if any of us would want to fight that those movies are good. I don't think.
Yeah, I know that's the problem.
Yeah.
I love them.
Really?
Okay.
I love them.
Okay. I will not rewatch them.
I was gonna
will-
say I'm gonna take a Brian on this one and be like I ain't watching it.
I did start weirdly, wildly, randomly. Like 3 weeks ago, I found someone had a cut on my YouTube showed up of I've made a 3-hour version of The Hobbit.
Oh,
whole
I've,
trilogy
yeah, I
condensed
saw
into
something
one
like
movie.
that too. Yeah.
There are many cuts. I think even Topher Grace is in The Hunt. He has his own.
Oh, really?
So I started
Wow.
watching one of them. That's just you can download for free, and there it is.
There's a lot of chaff that can be sifted out of that kind
Well,
of stuff.
it was literally just them like thinking that they were just shooting one movie in a normal like 40 or 50 day like shoot schedule, and then Peter
two
Jackson
movies,
was like, just kidding, we're gonna turn this into 2 movies, and
and then it became 3 movies.
yeah, or no, we're gonna turn it into 3 movies, right? Yeah, and there's
No,
like,
that would I would agree that was a mistake because
bless you.
so I read the book. My attachment to it is like I took the book
On fun little book, you mean? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I took that on my honeymoon because it's like
Non-floating.
135 pages. Like it's super tiny.
Oh, is it really?
And I was,
didn't realize that.
yeah, it's really small.
Never watched it.
Even
So
I
I
read it.
Yeah, so I read it and I was like, oh, this would be great. And then I heard they were going to movie. It's like, man, this is going to be the best 2.5 hours of my life. And then they did that times 3, and I was like, you guys are stretching some stuff out here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of extraneous content.
A lot.
Well, we need to know where Maleglorn was through all of this.
Hey,
Well, yeah,
they
that's
didn't.
real.
They tried to
Maleglorn.
introduce characters in the existing Lord of the Rings into the Hobbit that didn't necessarily need to be there.
Well,
But were just,
Legolas
like,
wasn't even in the
fan
Hobbit,
favorites.
was he?
Like Silmarillion side quest stuff.
Yeah.
All the side stuff, because like in the book, it's like, oh, Gandalf splits for a hot minute and he's gone until like towards the very end. And it's like, where was he? Well, the Hobbit tells you he went to Flangorn Castle and
Right.
Got himself a shmam and flew on a.
and saw the necromancer is up to no good again.
Yeah. So, but the Legolas was not in The Hobbit, was he?
No.
Nope.
No. See, that's what was weird about that.
What's her
yeah.
name is not in The Hobbit. There was not a love triangle in The Hobbit.
Who was the
There
third
was
love
not
person?
Well, it's played by Evangeline
It's
Lilly. I can't
Killy.
remember her name.
Killy or Philly, one of the dwarves, and
Right.
Evangeline Lilly, who played
The Wasp.
Smeal.
Yeah, it's bad. I don't remember, but
Oh,
yeah,
so
that,
she
that
had to
whole
choose
that
between
whole
a dwarf
elven
and an
thing
elf?
isn't in the book.
Yeah, none of that
Seems
crap's
weird.
in there. And
The-
even
the-
she, like, there's an interview where she's talking and she was like, "Oh, I get to be like this cool badass chick. All right, as long as I don't have a love story."
Wah, wah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Oh, that's so long. It's like 15 hours.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch it. I stopped at the sing, like just stopped. Just nope. I'm not
Good
sitting
scene.
through a song. When they're
The
like
singing?
when they're in Bilbo's house and they start singing
Yeah,
and
that's
They're
rough.
eating all his food.
tossing
It's all
dishes
very
around.
disjointed too.
And I was like, nope.
So if we want to talk about The Hobbit, Lindsay Ellis has a channel, very successful YouTube channel, and she goes through like the Battle of the Five Studios and when that was made and the Del Toro backstory and him getting
Right.
pulled and like Peter Jackson had to jump in at the last minute essentially because they were like, well, we don't have a director and this train's moving. And Peter Jackson was like, and they were also like, and we're going to pull ship from New Zealand and we're going to go film this in UK or the States. And so he went, no, I'll do it. And then it was just like, every decision to get it made from then on was
Interesting.
Feels like it would have been better just to either let it die or let it go somewhere else. I mean, I don't know. I've never watched it because I think it's the first 30 minutes made me want to puke my freaking guts out. So we'll see. Yeah. I don't know. I was just not in the mood or something, but
Yeah,
I loved the
The
original.
re-edit
a-
I watched is much more. I haven't finished it though, but
Yeah.
it was better. It's much better.
Yeah, it's not a put on while you're working on something type movie. You gotta
Tone is all over the place though.
The
It does
thing,
not have a
yeah, exactly. But
consistent tone.
the reason that Lord of the Rings the trilogy was so grounded, I think, is because the tone was good, and I think they worked really, really hard on the scripts and stuff like that. But you had some people like Viggo Mortensen that kept it grounded, like he was gonna be Aragorn through that whole damn thing. Like exactly, he was always gonna be a
He
great
married
actor.
his horse. I think he got married to his horse.
He did.
That's how he was committed.
No, he was into it. He wore his sword the whole
He
time. I
loved
mean,
that
that's
horse.
yeah. You had that kind of stuff. I mean, I think that
It was New Zealand.
I like.
It was the aughts. It was the late 90s.
It was, yeah, it was.
fine.
It was before me too. So the horse couldn't do much about it.
Me nay.
I'm trying to think of when I heard about.
Me
I
too.
was in college. I was in Indiana when my
Yeah.
sophomore year. So it would have been
collegiate
99 2000 where
That they were filming that crap in
Yeah.
the 90s. Yeah,
Yeah.
because was it right after 2001? Was it right after?
2001 is when the Two Towers came out. Came
That's
out
when
in
Two Towers,
December of
that's
that
right.
year. Yeah,
Because I knew it was like it timed.
yeah. So they're like, should we
weirdly
change
with
the?
9/11.
Should we change the name of it? No. We're gonna keep the name of it. Are we gonna have a tower crumble and fall down? Oh yeah. That's definitely still happening. I mean, it didn't happen until the next movie, but you still were just kind of like, oh.
Like, don't worry, not in this one.
Because that was 2002, I think, when it came out. Or was it every 2 years or every year?
Was it every year?
It was every
I think
year.
it was every year.
Yeah,
because they had filmed them.
yeah. Because I think they started shooting in '98, and Elijah Wood's our age. So yeah,
Still
it was
is.
like, yeah,
At the time, he was
he's
all
dead
right.
now, but yeah,
Now
Funny
he's
story,
70,
still our
I
age.
think.
yeah. He ages twice as
aged him.
fast. Hobbits do that.
Well,
But,
when you have
yeah.
the ring for that long, it really messes with you.
Yeah, it screws you up, man. Yeah. But yeah. So, all right. You ready to wrap it up?
You got to poop? Is that what it is?
No.
You got to run to Safeway.
I got to run a Safeway. Exactly. I got to check
I
on the
gotta take a
guys, see how they're
trip
doing
to
out there.
Safeway.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call it now. Sorry, guys, I gotta run to Safeway.
We got to go to Safeway.
I like it. Yeah, we're good.
And folks, thanks for listening. We really do appreciate your patronage, your listening gauge. Do find us
Thank
on
you to
Apple
Facebook.
Podcasts or to Spotify. Listen to us there. Or, yeah, thanks so much for
Hi,
listening to us on Facebook. Our 3 listeners. Thank you so much. We appreciate you
I
guys.
can't see who you are. I know I'm one of them.
Ton. 1 of 3.
Oh, it might be me too.
Nice. Well, we've had 2 all
Hashtag.
night, so thank goodness.
Me too.
But thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate you doing that. And we'll return next week with possibly a movie that we'll watch, possibly another Fight Me. We'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, this is Nerds After Dark.